There's a legend in these parts about Bigfoot. As he was wandering through the forest, he thought about having a podcast. And he walked and thought and walked and thought. Then he came across a little bunny and he pondered, I wonder if that bunny would be my co-host. And the rest, it was history.
Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson.
And that was a fantastic intro.
Yes, it was.
As compliments of our guest tonight, Dr. Michael Lynch. And he has returned. The good doctor has returned to Bigfoot and the Bunny. He's the bestest.
The best.
And we really appreciate that, Mike. And if you guys don't know, he was a guest star in Worlds Scariest Places, the Nat Geo Show Taboo, MTV show Fear, Destination America Live, Exorcism Live was a pretty interesting series. And he was also featured in the documentaries The Haunted Boy and Children of the Grave 2, the Booth Brothers documentaries. You can see them in there.
Yeah.
And those are really cool. Children of the Grave 2 was awesome. So I'm going to bring him right on. We're going to get right to things. What is happening? Dr. Mike.
Mr. and Mrs. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. America, how are you guys doing?
I wish.
That was an awesome introduction.
Yes.
I'm so glad you finally got to play it.
I'm so sorry because, like I said, I come from this old school of media and all introductions had to be 30 seconds. And I was just watching that. And I said, man, I could have gone another 15 seconds. I don't know why. I don't know why it was so short. It just felt short this time. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's great though. I love the music.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Look at my background, everybody at home.
Awesome.
Doug says my wife hung up on me to watch the show.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. Very intelligent woman, that one.
There she is.
Hello, everyone. Yes. Hello. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for calling me back. I've got a couple of new things that I don't hear in the social network. I don't hear in the George, man, you must be from Sweden or Austria or someplace. That's not how you spell George in America. But anyway, but what I'm saying is that there's a lot of things out there. We're all connected, and we all go different directions. And I just try to be as interesting as possible.
You are interesting.
I try that. I may adjust my camera just a bit. I don't know why. I'm just like slumping over my desk. I've changed my chair 4 times, to get in this center between the Bigfoot and the Bunny poster here. Okay, very good. All right,
Bigfoot.
All right. Well, how are you guys doing?
Walking. We're doing good.
Good.
Getting ready for the holidays and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to have a charity show. We may do that next Saturday for some good cause. So if you're interested, I think we're going to do like a rotating lineup of guests and just let people join and kind of have one of those panel things that we like so much.
Yes.
And it'll be for a good cause. We got to figure all that out. But I don't know. I'll keep you in the loop of that if you're free. Welcome to join. And that'll be fun. Maybe we'll raise some money for something good.
I'm just going to interrupt just for a second. Is there a cricket in your background?
There could be.
It's okay. Funny. My ear sounds like it's ringing, and it does sound like that.
Yeah, it sounds like a cricket, or maybe it's a fan. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to let you know. It's
Thank you.
Kind of high pitched. It was just maybe only dogs can hear it, and me. I don't know. I'm not sure. There we go. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's more preferable to what I was listening to. It's like someone with a chainsaw or a skill saw going. Anyway.
All right. I don't know.
It's all set now.
Could be some in the interwebs.
Okay.
But so yeah, you won't.
Yeah,
mention you're gonna talk about some new stuff, some new topic.
Yeah. Now, okay. Let me just set the stage here. Okay, we'll talk about a couple different things, but what's happening is Rupert Sheldrake a few years ago
Hmm.
came out with panpsychism.
Oh yeah, we're
Panpsychism.
fans of Rupert.
Okay, and I'm a very big fan of Rupert Sheldrake. I've got nothing wrong with his logic, what he's found out about stuff, and he's one sexy young man when he was younger. But anyway, getting back to reality. Everyone attacked him. Everyone attacked him because of panpsychism. Was the idea that everything in nature, almost everything, it has a rudimentary function of intelligence, and that it can be seen. Like an amoeba has a rudiment because it's trying to survive and reproduce. And so everything, even household appliances and your computer, could have some rudimentary form of intelligence. And I worked at
consciousness.
Yeah, the world of consciousness, right? And I
Can
worked.
hold on. Yeah, that's.
And I worked. Yeah, I worked for a university in a department, and my boss was not very computer inclined.
Savvy.
And so I said, the computers know when you're afraid. Just put that fear into her. And it was true. She'd always screw up. Well, anyway, I had no fear of computers, and so everything I did was just like magic. But anyway, getting back to it, everything by his definition has a rudimentary form of consciousness, rudimentary form of intelligence. Okay, even the sun. He brought about the sun by all of our definitions of consciousness, of physics. Let me just say physics is saying the sun by the definition of physics is intelligent. It has all the capacities of intelligent thought, and it has all the capacities to process. And so does a computer, so does a server, so does AI. All of this stuff is rudimentary intelligence today. All right. But physics in the overall, they can't get it. So what I'm going to do tonight is we'll talk about panpsychism, about how, yes, they are all interrelated through a network of consciousness, but also there's pan-idiocy and pan-stupidity. Because you cannot have panpsychism without pan-stupidity, okay? Or pan-idiocy, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, Rupert, you just fell short. But there's two other definitions out there we got to take a look at. And so all the physics in the world, all the physicists, quote unquote, physicists, mathematicians are running around bumping into walls because they can't figure out. So what happened is, physics wasn't colorful enough. So what happens is they go, okay, we can explain everything through physical physics. And that's Albert Einstein. Okay. And then we can do quantum physics, and we can explain everything. And so they start this hand's red and this hand's blue, and they start splashing all these colors of physics out there. And guess what? None of them connected. The nanophysics did not connect with the physical physics of planetary rotation. Kepler, Newton physics didn't apply to microphysics. And microphysics is really what we base the computer on, by the exchanging of electrons. And so what we're looking at is that everything that they suggested, that we could build this unified field theory and make everything work, sucks, because it doesn't. It doesn't. They're, as my dad would say, they're befuddled by the evidence, meaning there's so much junk out there that doesn't connect, it doesn't overlap, that they just don't know what to do with it. But they got to get their grant money, and they've got to, keep their tenure. So, it's like, you're sitting there going, this is just a joke. It's a joke. So there's a little girl out there, a little German girl, and her name is Sabrina, like Hoffenpfeffer, something like that.
Hoffenpfeffer.
And she's a nice little girl. She has the same problems with physics as I do. She's a theoretical physicist, and I got some background in that. And so the whole point is that she has the same problems, and she comes up and says, none of this works. The math is math, but it doesn't explain anything. We've not had the unified field theory. Nothing connects. And then Rupert comes out and says, oh, it's all panpsychism. That's connecting to everything. That'll connect quantum physics and all this other. I'm sitting there going, I'm saying, Rupert, dude, get a clue. It's not panpsychism. That's just felonious. That's just because you don't want to get into my copyright, but it's tachyon, general field of tachyons. It's where the flow of information is built in to our universe, the flow of it and the flow of intelligence. Okay. So we set up 1,000 servers across America, or let's say 1 million servers across America. Someone in DC types a letter and emails it to someone in Los Angeles. Okay. That breaks all the laws of known physics. Not only is that process an intelligent one, it's transmission of data. The data is ones and zeros, that's correct. But inside that data is the email. Okay. You're producing a vlog right now, a video log. Okay. It's seen all over the world instantaneously.
Right.
And that is information, integrated information with intelligence.
That's the cloud, baby. We're in the cloud.
I'm not saying I'm intelligent, but I'm just saying you guys are. And I'm just saying that this is the way that physics cannot explain. They cannot put these pieces together. So if you step back into my world, okay, and I'll tell you why.
I know this. Unified theory and quantum physics have a hard time merging, right?
Right.
I think
they can't.
A lot of the
Bohr
comes from Einstein couldn't even really deal with quantum. He didn't like it.
Right.
But they have trouble, coming up with the math to put them together.
That's right.
So anytime they're, somebody has a breakthrough in that, it's like pretty much a Pulitzer Prize type thing. Hey, Ken Allen of the Wizards Table.
Wizards Table.
What's up, bud?
Hey, we'll get into this a little bit later. But anyway, so we build a multi-billion-dollar thing out at CERN.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're starting to recollide because they burn out all the fusings of the sensors, and so they have to get a new sensor array, and they're going to put it back in. And then they're going to slap particles together, and they're going to tell me, "Oh, Dr. Lynch, we're going to find the universe. We're going to find the sources of the universe." I said, "Really? Is that really? And maybe out of the magic of the ether, we'll find the God particle."
Well.
And it's like you guys are freaking idiots. You're just idiots. Okay. If I had a tenth, my internet may be going out of me, those grays, but there we go. Okay. If I had a tenth of the money that they have wasted, it would be shocking. It'd be shocking. But anyway, so panstupidism is the definition of that there's so many physicists out there. Too many chefs spoil the broth and nothing is connecting. After 80 freaking years, nothing connects. That's CERN. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hadron Collider. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The collider. Okay. Nothing connects after 80 freaking years of all the brain cells and all the world and all the intelligence. Nothing connects. And then there's one that does. And that's Rupert Sheldrake. And he goes, it's panpsychism. And I go, no, Rupert, it's tachyon. It's a general tachyon field. And it emanates through the entire universe. And I said, that is why I can be telepathic. If I'm telepathic, I can be on the earth and I can talk instantaneously to someone in Alpha Centauri, which is 4.5 light years away. Okay. There is no other medium. Okay. There is nothing. There is a piece of paper, internet, Ethernet cord, telephone cables. There is no medium except via electrons and a copper wire or
and light.
Light. Fiber optics. Yeah, fiber optics and copper wire and an Ethernet cable or whatever, and some satellites, and you can do it instantaneously through that medium. So that's instantaneous. Okay.
Right.
But,
Well, the physics of the medium are kind of defined, so we're
Right.
good with that. I think where panpsychism
So-
comes into place, we're talking about the
It's the same
ability
thing.
of consciousness to pervade an inanimate object. You know, it has the potential, and
That's
I think
right.
it explains
That's right.
things like shamanism, where they talk about. the
Okay,
spirit.
we're gonna
That's
just give
what-
me a second. Well, I'm going to connect this all up.
Might
Just
be
give me a
good.
second. Okay, so what
We're
happens is that physics or physicists say, no, we're not going to get into spiritualism. No, we're not going to go ghost hunting. You know, we don't really want to know the truth. So
Sound better.
So yeah. So it's like, oh no, Dr. Lynch, oh, he's going to chase ghosts. He doesn't know a thing. And it's like, no, dude, I just found the physics and the how does electricity actually work again? Okay, there you go. That's a good question. We're having debates on that, the 12 steps of the birch tree. That's
Right.
okay.
Well, it's a good point with the
but it's
you know, not
yeah,
manipulate
but it's
it,
like
you don't know
okay,
Love birch trees.
it's like okay. The pan idiocy is that if you have panpsychism, okay, you can have all the other variations. You can have pan idiocy, pan stupidity, pan arrogance, pan narcissism. I can go down the list. And Rupert just fell short because he said, well, I don't want to give these guys too much loaded information because they'll go off. And it's like they did go off, but they went off on the wrong foot. Okay. And since they don't want to investigate the paranormal, they're missing 99% of their reality. I just cannot believe it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me tie this together. We have magic. Okay, a sleight of hand and deception. And then over here we have magica. Okay, magica. One is chemistry, physics, biochemistry, nanotechnology, stealth bomber. It's physical. Magic is physical manipulation and deception. Magica is energy, inner relationship. Okay. Panpsychism is an energy. Panpsychism is a form and field of energy. So is tachyons. Tachyons is a form and field of energy. We're saying the same thing, different language. It's like saying, okay, Rupert, I'm not saying you're wrong because you're right, but don't exclude everything else because you can't. Once you define it, once you give it a name, define it. Okay. And that's why tachyon to me is an energy field. It can be used for everything. There has been so many so-called witches and psychics say that it's neutral. Everything is neutral. And then it's the focused mind that organizes it. And that's what, okay. And that's the thing about quantum physics. Okay, this has come up time and time again. When the observer is watching the triple split experiment, it is different than when you don't watch it. When you walk out of the room and go have a hot dog and come back, it's the readings are totally different. So what they decided to do in the quantum field industry, and this is what I want to tell every paranormal investigator out there, this is why quantum does not have anything to do with this, okay, is that they're going to throw out all personal observations of the quantum experiment. And I'm sitting there going, you cannot do that because all of physics and science is based upon physical, personal observation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you throw out one, you got to throw out them all. You have to throw out every observation. So that means all the radiation experiments that what's-her-face did doesn't exist because they were all done visually. Chemistry is done, not only through recipes or chemistry, but it's also done through visible observation. So we've got to throw that out. So what are we actually talking about? Are we talking about, okay, well, one experiment didn't go the way we want, so we're going to throw it out. It's like, you call yourself a freaking scientist? You call yourself, what do you call yourself besides PhD and blah, blah, blah? And it's like this guy, he has a show. I don't know, I forgot his last name, but anyway, it's called Closer to Truth. It's out there. Sometimes it's on PBS and he had a pretty good budget the first couple of seasons, but now he's like in his cloistered closet with all of his books that he can't sell behind him saying, we're getting closer to truth on consciousness. And I'm saying, going, you're not even close. You're not even, if I was on the moon, I would be closer to it than you being right here in the same room on Earth. And so it's like, I want your money to study consciousness, but I'm never going to find it. And this is the same report in Project Blue Book, the Condon report. Oh, there may be UFOs, but they have no threat. They're no threat to the human race. Well, go tell that to like 10,000 cattle that have been mutilated every freaking year. That's 100,000 cattle in 10 years. Just keep going. That's only in America. That's in South America, Mexico, Brazil, everywhere. 10,000 head a year. And you're telling me that's not a threat? That's a threat to our economy. If it's not a threat to me, personally. Oh, well, it's
global warming as well.
And global warming.
Global warming as well.
But they say, oh, no, there's black helicopters and crap. And it's like, no, the black helicopters arrive after, because they got a blip on their radar that something bumped through the atmosphere. And then they show up. They go, no, what's going on here? So.
No, we
bogus. They buried it. This is not only the ultimate conspiracy, it is the conspiracy of conspiracies. If I don't like something, I can just ignore it. And I still get paid. And I still get paid.
For a moment. Rupert is known for an experiment he did about psychic pets or concerning.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's in panpsychism. Yes. That's the finding.
Well, yeah. He showed that pets are in fact psychic and know when their owners are coming home. And numbers on this was pretty amazing. I don't have that in front of me, but I've
it is. I know. I've done that study. Yeah.
And dogs, know. Cats know for the most part. Most cats, most dogs, more dogs than cats, and there were actually some birds in there. There were parrots that did extraordinarily well.
Yes,
and
what I should have told Rupert is that all dogs and cats and parakeets can read time. So anyway, that's
one of the things he showed is like he had like an owner go home a different way, like so it wasn't like car noises. They had him take like a cab and do different things. Yet the pet started acting like looking at the door and all that kind of stuff.
They also did. They also did. Well, pets and cats can also see entities. They can also see ghosts in the room. And that's something that the human eye can't see. They can also hear the ghost, and a lot of times they respond to him. The other thing is that they set it up to where they had a person in a room and a video camera, and a person at the other end watching it on a TV set was watch the person in the room. 7 Mysteries of Guy Munchie. Why does that sound familiar?
That down because I want to look that up as well.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I'll have to read that. Thank you, George. But anyway, so the thing is that we know that we're being watched, whether it's via a camera, via in person, and via anywhere. Technical remote viewing is depicted along these lines. If someone's technical remote viewing me, and I'm more aware, I will know it. I'll change my behavior immediately.
Sure. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So psychic spies can't really spy on psychics, because then the psychics will know that they're being spied on. Because we're all in this field, this tachyon field, that we're all exchanging energy and getting information. Okay. Now you can call that the state of panpsychism, but that just it goes one way. You need a two-way scenario. Okay. But at the same time, there's everything in there. And that's why these guys, these physicists and everything else, are now, after 80 years, producing absolutely nothing. Hey, Joshua. Producing absolutely nothing is that they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They're in a glass bubble, and they just cannot get out. And I think that's the whole thing. They've been so familiarized with magic that they can manipulate balls and cups and cards and cards in the deck, and they don't understand that they're not getting anywhere. They're not going to get anywhere. The red and blue don't add up to green and whatever. Okay.
Yep. It's
Loves
great.
the nuts. Okay, Greg. Yeah.
Our
No,
family. Nate.
yeah.
Nothing.
And so so when you boil it down, when you boil all this down, it is where our physics, your education that you had when you were in high school and college, is not the real education. It's what they've all agreed upon to be able to sell books, and they've convinced they've convinced the Board of Education that this is the true science. This is the true science. Okay.
Mhm.
And what's so crazy about this is, okay, you cannot look at the results of Rupert Sheldrake and say that those results are faked, because they're all done through observation. Okay.
Right.
So the physicists go, okay, well, we're so smart. We're going to get a camera and a computer, and we're going to watch the triple split or double split quantum experiment.
Double slip. The double
Yeah.
slip experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there will be
I'm a
no
fan
human involvement. And I'm sitting there going,
Frank was in it,
there's
yeah.
still an observer. Okay, there's still an observer to the reality. This is what panpsychism talks about. There has to be an observer to
Yes.
the reality in order for the reality to work. You can't travel through time. You can't technically remote view. You can't do a lot of things without an observer. Okay, so hold on with me. Our consciousness is our own observer.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
That's deep.
And that is how panpsychism works. Because not only the dog is observing the master, the other experiments that he did, Rupert Sheldrake did, all included an observer.
Right. Well, he talked about
so-
MI6, right? So MI6,
okay.
the British Secret Service,
Yeah, sure.
and they
Yeah,
actually
there are CIA.
train,
You know,
their soldiers to, if they're going to stab somebody in the back, or they're going to sneak up on somebody and execute them,
mhm,
right? They tell them not to look at that person because
right.
we do sense it. And
That's right.
you do sense people looking at you. And that's really interesting when you think of how many cameras are out there today. There's cameras everywhere in every street, every store. We're
Mhm.
constantly being watched by something somewhere. It's amazing we haven't all gone crazy yet.
And they can flip a switch. They can watch. Okay, the TSA can do this in an airport. They watch your heat register. So if you're lying or they think you're hiding something, you'll be hotter than the next guy. And they'll pull you out of a crowd. Oh, this is just a random search, Mr. Smith. And the deal is no, it's not random at all. They got a thing in their ear and it says that guy's hotter than that guy. And then they pull them out of the line, you know. And I'm sitting there going, man, shit, the Nazis have just taken over. But anyway, all I'm saying is that yes, we are our own observers. And this is the subconscious mind. So we are in our own loop. Our loop is created via our consciousness, whether it's subconscious, whether it's the id, the ego, you know, the super ego, super subconscious. All of this is monitoring. Our consciousness is out there monitoring that reality. It could not do this without a medium in order for it to do that. And that is not the chemicals in my brain. That is the energy in the environment, the energy in the room. So what Rupert did was, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to get into, I don't want to sell soap in somebody else's, area or whatever, across the street or whatever. And it's like, you don't have to, Rupert. They're wrong. They've been wrong for a long time. They just don't want to admit it because they think, oh, if I keep dissecting rats and hooking college kids up to EEGs and paying them $3 an hour, we're going to find consciousness, man. It just takes more, just keep doing it.
When people say things like the subconscious connects us all, right? We're all connected.
Yeah.
And we seem to be.
Yeah.
It seems to be a subconscious connection.
Yeah, it is.
Inherently have some kind of, gateway to the psychic side of the paranormal. Do you think that's done with tachyon fields?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. This is where I want to get into my next topic. The consciousness interface problem or the equation of consciousness interface. And that is that not all of your consciousness is in your head or in your heart or in your gut. It's a lot of it emanates beyond your body in a field. Now we call it an aura or bioelectric field or whatever you want to call it. It radiates, it extends.
Resonance.
Yes.
Yeah. And so as soon as this environment changes, just like my body, if it's too hot, I begin to sweat. If it's too cold, I begin to shiver. It's the same in the conscious mind. The conscious mind says there's danger. I'm warning you, whatever. There are so many studies of people who have not got on an airplane or not got on a train or delayed their trips, and that plane crashed.
Yeah.
That train went off the rail. That boat sank.
Gut instinct as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So either there's an angel telling them, okay, don't get on there, or their psychic subconscious is warning them. It is the observer to themselves, and it's warning them, this is a bad decision. Don't do this. Okay. And this is what is plaguing modern science today, is that interface. Okay. Why? Okay. Is it nanotubules? Viktor Frankl.
Yes.
Yeah. And, they say it's microtubules in the brain and all this other stuff. And they're going all this mathematical situation and they cannot figure it out. And it's like, dude, because you're looking at it the wrong way. It's like figuring out electricity. There's electricity in my house. I don't know where it comes from, but it's there, and when I plug a fan in and the fan comes on, I know it's working,
Right. We can manipulate it, but we don't know exactly what it is.
Exactly. They have no clue. And so you have all these Roman Catholics running around. We're going to find the God particle. We're going to find the God particle. It's like, hell if you are. God doesn't work in particles. He works in particle manipulation. It's particle manipulation that he works in. He works in energy. Your soul is energy. Your consciousness is energy. Okay?
Yes.
You focus energy. You don't focus particles. I can stare at a bunch of marbles all day, and it's going to be very hard to get those things to move.
Well, there's your double slit experiment, right? So it's like
Right.
if you observe it, it's no longer a particle; it becomes a wave. if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Well, it is. It's moving in three-dimensional space. It has to be a wave. It has to be a particle. Okay. I don't have a pen here, but it's moving like this. It's spiral. Every particle, our planet is spiraling like it's going down a barrel of a gun. The sun is doing the same thing. Everything spirals but we don't see it, so we don't even recognize it. Everyone says, no, it's vibration. It's all vibration, like Tesla was talking about. And it's like true. That is true. It is vibration.
Yeah. Irene notes that she ran home before the earthquake and was glad that she did. If she didn't, she should have been stuck on a train, and it was really bad. She's referring to Fukushima. Yeah,
and I agree with her. And okay, and if you notice, in the Indonesian tsunami and some of the Japan tsunami area, there were no animals. There are no animals in the Indonesian, and they have elephants and stuff like that, in their environment. When the tsunami came in, it wiped out that entire city, that entire town. There were no dead animals, no cats, no dogs, no parakeets, nothing. Anything they were already gone.
Yeah, they ran first. There's a video.
They ran first. So there's this. So this guy says to determine whether there's going to be an earthquake in your city, he opens the newspapers to the lost and found animals. Fluffy ran away at 4:55, or Prince, my dog ran away at a certain time, and then he would calculate from when the next earthquake was going to come.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about infrasound. Yes, we're talking about infrasound coming through the grounds, and the cats and dogs are more sensitive to it. Yeah, but they're heading for the hills. Humans are sitting here dumb as doornails waiting for the apocalypse.
Not as in tune as the animals, but no question.
I'm sitting there saying, so you guys, after 80 years, have not connected the universe into a network that actually works. But my dog and cat can run out of here in a heartbeat when they feel an earthquake. It's like, gee whiz, are we not missing the bigger picture here?
They don't know how to do a Rubik's Cube. They're never going to solve a Rubik's Cube with a little pause. but
They don't do
they know
dishes.
when
They don't
to GTFO, right? They don't do dishes.
laundry.
They're
Natural disasters coming, they're out of there.
They're out. Yeah,
They know.
they know. Yeah.
you know, I'm getting old. I really am, because I watched Wednesday Addams on Netflix the other night.
Oh, I've watched that. Nevermore. It's just
Yeah, Nevermore. Yeah,
Academy. Yes,
I watched it 4 times. I profiled everything. She is a psychopath. But the point is that rich little girls acted exactly like that. The turn of the century. They acted like that. They spoke like that. And every guy and his brother wanted to get him in the sack. I have no idea, but they were crazy. They were psychopathically crazy. Yeah.
Mentality of back in the day.
Yeah, it was the mentality, this cold,
Right.
calculating, crazy energy. I mean, not energy, mentality. And it all comes from the British Gothic period, where they had like a lot of children that would die, and emphysema, pneumonia, typhoid, whatever. And the thing is that they didn't want to become emotionally attached. So they would have to have like 8 kids, and like 3 of them would survive. And so they became more and more, disenfranchised from their own kids. And talk about, a horrible household. But that's what rich girls did. That's exactly the way they acted. Now, like I said, I am here is Lois Jane, but they know that they're lost to that intuition, and we all have it. Just right. We have to wake up to it. You have to meditate. You have to pray.
Yes.
You've got to expand your mind, and you've got to go places in your own personal psychology. No psychologist is ever going to go. Your shrink will never go, because why? He needs the number of consultations, not the progress of the consultation. And that's sad.
Tell me about your mother.
It's all about your mother. It's the rabbit. It's the rabbit. Right. No, the monster's behind the rabbit. No, the monster is the rabbit. Oh, you lie, you Scottish cake.
Funny rabbit.
Yeah, they can't admit what's right in front of them, and so they don't. So they're living in denial. That's a psychological flaw. Anyway, getting back to Wednesday Addams, I'm just saying that's the best script I have ever heard in probably 10 years.
It was really, really
a great
good.
Script. Great written. I just plug it out there on Netflix.
Yeah, it's pointed towards, like teenagers and stuff, but I enjoyed it.
Tweens.
Well, yeah, because she's in university now. It's Nevermore Academy.
I'm saying.
Sorry.
Can you spare a sixpence?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that. These were the wealthy. And in one of the movies, Wednesdays asks for the salt, and Uncle Fester's reaching for it and is getting ready to hand it to her. And her mother goes, "And then what do you say?" And she goes, "I want it now. I mean, now." And that's exactly what they were in the Victorian times. It's like, this didn't change. I mean, we just have divas running around,
Green.
Yes. So the green is people. I just want to tell you that. And it's coming to a store near you if the supply chain doesn't break down. So
what is that chirping sound? So I don't know if there's
I don't know what that is. That's
the chirping sound. But
that's better than what I'm hearing. I don't know.
Does it need to be turned down? I don't
Rise from your grave.
Okay, don't do that.
That's Altered Beast.
Pardon?
Ram Dass.
Oh.
Jack Kilowatt says Ram Dass said they're to be aware of the thought generator in our brain, and then to realize that we are actually the awareness, not the thought generator.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Magic deals in energy, emotions, the focusing of the mind, the interplay of the tachyon field. Magic is sleight of hand and illusion that is progressing. I can do things, and that's the problem. The basic form in physics is in magic. They're just rearranging the particles. Okay, let me just say this. I play a lot of solitaire. I play solitaire to, relax and things like that. But the deal is that I can't change the deck. I play solitaire and I win 90% of the time, if not more, because I know the confines and the rules of the game and the deck. Okay. But what these guys have come in and they've convinced us of the non-science community and the scientific community is that, hey, I can win all the time, and all they have to do is keep playing the game. And no, you can't. You cannot change the cards. You cannot. Yeah, that's right. That's what I said. Yeah. So it's like you cannot play. You're not playing the game, because if you lose, that means you don't understand the game. So if you win consistently, that means you understand the game and you know you cannot change the game. But everyone comes out and says, oh, we can change it. Oh, yeah, we just need to slam a lot more atoms together. We just need a big hydrogen boost, and we got the bigger and better bomb. We got the bigger and better stealth bomber. We got, we'll convince you that we are doing the right thing by manipulation. And you go, yeah, well, that's fine, but that's not solving man's internal question. Not where I came from, but why do I exist? What's the point of all this illusion and delusion? And we're not getting anywhere. And it takes people like myself and others who have gone out into the paranormal field and have made dramatic infield plays to bring out this truth. And then you have these guys, every so often they'll come in. I'm the sorceress supreme of blah blah blah. Just like, oh, dude, don't even go there. If you're speaking Latin, you don't even know anything about sorcery. Yeah, and it's not even high magic, low magic, man. It's magic or magica, and magica is the secret taboo energy game, and magic is just manipulation of matter. So that's why I say, if you work in materialism, you'll never understand energy. If you work in energy, you don't even know why there's that materialism. Every physicist and psychologist out there says that we live in an illusion. This is an illusion created because we need more amusement. This is an amusement park. This is a very complex dream that's being provided for us, and it's for us to learn from that dream. And that's the whole thing. And I'm not telling you buy my book or do yoga or whatever. I'm just saying, man, this is the facts, and we need to address these facts, as paranormal investigators. Let me see. I had one more thing here. Oh yes. Okay. Now, you've been with me this long. I don't know how much time we've got. I always go over. I don't want to go over.
It's fine. We have a lot of time left.
Okay. Now, here is the kicker. This is the Dr. Lynch kicker. And I know everybody out there is just waiting for this kicker. And I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you sideways, because that's the only way it's going to fit.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure I'm ready for that.
Yeah, no.
No, you're not ready for this. No, you're not ready for this. Are you ready for this? No, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready for this. Okay. Consciousness that I should have, it should be in my brain or in my body somewhere, right? Floating around in the environment. Consciousness is 90% neutral. 90% neutral. Okay. Now work with me on this. When that consciousness goes into a body, male or female, octopi or rodent, the hormones of that body, of that container, kick in. And that determines your sex. Okay. So your consciousness is neutral. All the angels are like freaking neutrals.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we look at the problems that we have in our society today, lesbian, gay, whatever. And it's because it's slightly genetic, which we all know that is. But in your last lifetime, you were a woman, you were a guy, and now you're in a different body. And that's the whole thing. You have to adjust. You have to adjust to this, whatever you are. And so your consciousness never dies. It just transfers from one state to another. And the idea explore our space as much as we do.
Yeah, that's
We
good.
should also, yeah, exactly. This
Well put, Echo. Echo
this
says,
Echo
"I
Leaf
like
guy's
why
on the
we
right track.
explore
Yeah.
outer
Yeah.
space as much as we do, while so much inner space remains
Yeah.
unexplored."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have so much. Now, we're not talking DNA. We're not talking cellular division. We're not talking, epigenetics or anything like that, because that's not really the inner space. The inner space is the focus, what we call the central matrix of the consciousness. That's the interspace. And
What are your
that
thoughts on simulation theory and how that ties into this?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether
real-
you play it on an Xbox, or whether you play it, or whether you fly planes in a simulator, or play something on an Xbox or PlayStation or whatever you're playing on now, that is the same thing. It's a cognitive avatar inside of a ruled and restricted game. The problem is those rules come in a little form, and you can read it, and it says, okay, you're a little avatar and you get to run around and look for stuff. Okay. In this reality, no one gave me the rule book. So I'm out here just running into trees. I'm just running into trees, man. I got to figure this out.
Trees.
It's going to take me 100 years. I'm going to die and not figure this shit out. I mean, excuse me. I'm not, but that's the way we all are. Okay. I want to put this out there. And I really mean this about 90%. Okay. Pharmaceutical companies, and I don't care if it's Bayer Aspirin or any pharmaceutical company out there, tell you, and doctors try to convince you, listen, take these drugs and they will make you normal. They're going to make you normal. Hell, I don't even know if I'm normal. What's the definition of normal? My liver's going to, it's going to thin my blood. My liver's going to work better. I'll take some Pepto-Bismol. It's going to help my digestive tract. I'm sitting going, what in the hell do you think is normal? So how many drugs do I have to take to be normal? Well, the doctor says, well, I don't know. We need a few for your brain. We need a few for your heart. We need a few for your kidneys. And if that doesn't work, well, then we got a whole bunch more in the closet. We're going to pull them out. Japan says control genetics. And if you're pregnant? Yeah. Hell yeah. We test tube babies, man. Where do you think you've been in the year 2525? I'm going to wonder if man is still alive. You pick your daughter, pick your son, pick your daughter too in the bottom of a long test tube. And that's the fact. We can do this today. I can clone myself. I can have 10 of me running around, in diapers if I wanted.
And we're going to interview them all.
Yeah, well, of course. Different stages, But that's the whole point, is that we can manipulate, Jack. We can manipulate anything. Metal, biology, human cells, human DNA. It's manipulation. That's magic. That's not magic. We're not dealing with energy. No one really knows where that comes from. So the consciousness interface into our bodies, the reason why our bodies are this way is so that consciousness can interface with it. Look at, okay.
So what is the interface? Is that like, are you saying that's a body? We're going to go back to panpsychism.
Right. It's the way that consciousness communicates.
Even inner matter can sustain a consciousness.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Okay. So,
haunted objects would be a good example of that, right?
Right. They're possessed by a frequency of intelligence of the former owner. That's why they're haunted. Every person, place, or thing can be haunted. Okay, so you're gonna have a haunted house. You're gonna have a haunted piece of furniture or jewelry. You can be haunted. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's like, okay, so how does that exist? Well, you're not going to run to your local physicist and find out, because they don't even know, and they don't even care. I don't deal in taboo hokey pokey stuff. Well, you should, because that is a major problem in a universe filled with consciousness and energy.
I like that voice. It kind of sounds. I think, is that the voice you had in the intro?
No. That was it's the old grumpy prospector voice.
And he was walking.
Many years ago, Bigfoot was walking through the woods.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I had sorry, I had a media background, and yeah, I mean,
So,
xenomorph transplantations. They are raising pigs in a sterile environment, and these pigs normally have about the same DNA prospect as we do. But you can take a pig, and genetically alter them to where they have your DNA, your heart, your intestines.
From your grave.
an altered beast. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I'm serious. And they grow these pigs, and you pay for those pigs. And in case you have a congenital heart failure or something goes wrong, your spleen or whatever, they just slice that pig open and say, "Okay, what do you want today?" You know, new organs. Okay, if I replace
And pork chops.
yeah, and pork chops. Bacon. Oh,
Great.
bacon. Anyway, so all I'm saying is, these pigs, you pay for them. They have your internal organs, and as they grow up and age, they can be spawned into multiple pigs that have your same organs.
Right, because they shot
Yeah.
the DNA.
They're not man-made. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, you can print those out these days. You can just print out the organs.
3D
I mean,
print just about anything.
Yes.
now.
Yeah, they can just 3D print it.
A lot
I
of
mean,
money,
that's
though.
pardon.
That's a lot of money.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Shit. There's all money. That's why everyone's out there saying, we can do it. Eureka, man. We can do it. I know the difference between lead and gold, man.
you'd think they would have like farms, you know, because so many people need organs every day. There's people all over the
Yeah.
world. that need
They're organ farms. That's what they are. I mean, Purina dog chow. Do you think Purina's just sitting there selling dog chow? Shit, man. They're
they
doing
selling
genetic.
What
Yeah.
do they do?
Okay. So every 50 years or so,
Isn't that
they
dog
slice. Yeah. They slice me open. They put my own organs from a xenographic pig into my body. I can live forever. I can just live forever. Just keep replacing my organs.
I love this.
I know. I
You know,
have
put a zipper right down here.
cheapers. I've seen 2 movies like this already that
Yeah.
has like the same
yeah.
concept of what you're saying. It's very,
You know, there's
scary and it's sad. You know,
there's a movie called The Clovis Horror.
Clovis Horror.
Old movie. Okay, then they made a remake of that where they kept these clones. They kept these clones, real life human beings, on an island.
Yep.
And they told them that the rest of the world had been destroyed, and that they have to be in peak physical condition forever in order to start replacing. Well, they find out that they're not reproducing; they're just constantly physically being fit, and they don't realize that one day the actual dude
it's gonna come get you.
yeah, it's kind of. Oh yeah, the island. That's it. That's the island. That's right. Right.
That
And they're going to come and get you and say, "Oh, you can go now and have a life." Dick Cheney. Oh, I'm not kidding. Dick Cheney, man, he had a mechanical freaking heart. He had a heart.
Yeah, right.
In a box.
Just
I'm
like
serious.
that too. You needed it.
It's like, okay, well,
I
I
can't do
need it. And so he goes down to Bethesda. All presidents, all congressmen, all senators get free health care, and they go down to Bethesda or Walter Reed.
Yes.
And what's his name? John McCain, the Maverick. He had cancer. He had melanoma, and they went in there and it's cut it all out, put in new skin, the whole 9 yards. He looked like Frankenstein for a long time. But then he sat there and he was like dying of cancer, and he was sitting there just sucking up all the freebie healthcare in the world. And in the movie Elysium, these guys are off on their own little wheel in space. Okay.
Yes,
and they get cured every 5 minutes. If they think they have a head cold, they walk in and they get cured by a machine.
Right.
Okay. David Adair has gotten $3 trillion to put one of those suckers in space, being financed by Japanese and Asian oligarchs.
Really?
3 trillion with a T, capital T. The Arabs were going to give him 300 billion or something like this, 300 some odd billion.
What is that?
And they wanted to build it in Dubai. They wanted to build the spaceport in Dubai.
I believe it.
And he goes, no, he goes, I don't think that's going to work. Anyway, these Asians come up. They bought him an island. He's like Dr. No on a freaking island.
There you go.
And he's sitting there go, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Our military industrial complex, this comes up. Our military industrial complex has got all of this, and they're just perfecting the hell out of it. Trillions of dollars are missing from the budget since 2001, and no one knows and cares where it's gone. But I can tell you, it's gone into genetics, it's gone into weaponry, it's gone into a lot of stuff. And I can say 99.9% of it came out of the sky. And that's a fact. Pardon?
What came out of the sky, Mike? And
all their research that they have had. Oh yeah. Okay. Turning into this TikTok world, these kids living on. Okay, TikTok is owned by China. Whoever's on TikTok has already given them all your personal information.
Yep, I don't have it. Neither does Chris.
And then they sell it. I brought this up. I think I brought this up before.
Actually really invasive. More so than like other social medias, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Joe did the whole thing on this. And it was pretty in depth when you look at what you're signing when you start your TikTok account. Yeah. Not that Joe Rogan needs more views, but you guys should check that out because, you really are signing your life away there. They can get on multiple devices. There's a whole thing that they can do.
They listen.
It's really bizarre.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, they're always listening.
So there could be another Chris and Kristen in New Delhi, India.
Mm-hmm.
New Delhi, India, just spinning those Visa cards. Yeah, just spinning those Visa cards as fast as they can print them, man. Like
they're vegan.
Vegan.
God, Anyway,
New World Order. Joshua says,
New World Order. Hell, they're so far behind the game, man. It's greed and corruption. That's all it is. It's not even it's an old world order. Meaning, if I have all the money, then I can do whatever I want. Look at Elon Musk and that Frankfurter Facebook Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, you can't lose $700 billion and say, oops.
Yes. Right.
Shit, that was 401ks. That was retirement funds. That was stuff that really mattered. And it's like, oh, gee whiz, well, I'm in my 30s, so who cares? I got 30 more years to make it all up, and then I'm going to retire. Elon Musk. It was like, he's an idiot. I mean, he's just like, you don't know what money is. You don't know what money is. You don't get it.
Sure.
And I mentioned Bitcoin and that China had a monopoly on the coin. Yeah. And that is true. They have these crazy crypto farms in China. Yeah. They have huge crypto farms, and they are mining the largest percentage of coin, I believe.
They have servers in refrigerators units to keep the servers so cold because they're running thousands and thousands to mine. Oh, yeah. Google.
Like that.
At one time, let me just go back a few years. Bigger than now, Mother Superior. Shit. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you think in the Avengers? Patrick McNee, John Steed would call in every day. He had to call in, and he would say, "Oh, John, are you all right?" And he goes, "Of course I am." And he goes, "How's Mother?" And Mother was a guy. Father was a woman. You see,
is this keyword stuff? Is this?
That's all spy tech. Like, it's always
is it spies or a sex cult?
No. It was in my five. It was the Avengers. It was Patrick McNee and Emma Peel.
Okay,
I can't remember. But anyway, he had to call every day. They got a phone call every day to make sure that he was checking in. And a lot of times you do that in the afternoon because normally you go out on the mission. If you're not back by a certain hour, they call and they send out, the rescue squad. So BTC kids. But all I'm saying, what am I saying? Okay, we're all connected. That's what I'm saying. The entire globe is so connected that we are running out of personal identities. So they're fabricating identities. So you go on Facebook. Okay, I get like 10,000 people wanting to be my friend. And it's like, I'm reading the names. And it's like, oh, dude, you were built, you were generated, you were built in a generator. You're not a real person. The CIA and the FBI troll Facebook and create false accounts just so they can get access to your accounts.
Well, plus they have those bots that do that as well.
They have bots. Yeah, there's a website. Oh, hell. Where's that page?
Like the Anybots?
Oh yeah, you can build your own bot to do anything.
You can.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll give you the website. Okay, here it is. Axiom.ai. It's AXI OM AM Axiom OM, I guess it's OM at AI dot. I mean, there's no dot after that. Axiom.ai. And you can build a bot to do anything you want. Anything you want.
Well, what do you think of the idea? I mean, we use spirit boxes and different electronic gadgets and gizmos, right?
Yeah.
In this world of trying to talk to spirit.
Right.
But what about the idea? And I know we actually have talked about this on the show. We had a friend of ours wrote a book on this.
Yes.
AI coming into play and where that takes on a consciousness.
Oh shit. They're already conscious. They're already self-aware.
They're already sentient, you're saying.
They are sentient. Now, they don't believe in an afterlife, which makes them so lethal because that they don't have any morals. There's no morale there. So I can kill you and it's just I go on about my day. There's no no psychological repercussion. So if you talk to a good police officer, they will say, okay, after a murder, what you do is you walk around the perimeter of a murder and look for vomit stains. Because if you've shot someone, you have such a reaction that you're going to regurgitate, you're going to throw up. Okay. And that's the whole thing. So in the military, they have to program you to kill things with prejudice, without any consequences. So AI is that thing. Okay. In 2001 Space Odyssey, I brought this up the other day, 2001 Space Odyssey, Hal's sitting there turning off their oxygen because he thinks they're a threat to the mission.
He doesn't care. He
doesn't care, man. He doesn't need oxygen. You know, it's like, let me play you a song. Dave, can I play you a song while I suck all the air out into space? It was like, shit, go ahead, Hal. I'm going to screw you over anyway. And that's
Linda says Axiom.ai, they have a Chrome extension, and I am not surprised.
Sure. Oh man.
Yeah.
Chrome is the search engine of your life. It monitors everything. Every time I go into this strange website, it'll say non-secure website. Okay. And then it will say, or I'll get this, they call it an ad blocker. It says, you want to allow the ads or not? And I say, no, block them. Because then they get into everything. They start sending. This is on YouTube. I didn't believe this, but I found it on YouTube. This guy holds up a sign called cat food, and he puts it in front of his camera. Cat food. And he doesn't say anything about it. And then about 5 minutes later, he gets a cat food ad on his screen that he is doing searches from.
We believe that. Definitely.
Okay. So in the year 3036, whatever, there's going to be an AI machine looking around saying, oh, gee whiz, what happened to all those humans? I must have killed them, I guess. I can't remember. AI,
the movie. Yeah.
It's pan stupidity. It's pan idiocy. We are building the very thing that is going to destroy us just so we can drive driverless across America.
Right. Yeah, we're going there for big business as soon as possible.
So is our critical thinking so bad, so freaking bad and messed up and convoluted that we can't drive a freaking car? Ask yourself.
No,
Make that tough. If I was 100 and I couldn't see very well, and yeah, sure, I'd like to have a car to take me to Walmart so I get ripped off. But the whole point is that do we need to go there? When I was on my radio show, and we were talking about the gas prices going up to $5 a gallon. And I said, yeah, that new model called Horse is going to look really good in a few years because you won't be able to afford it. Well, now I'm looking at a Horse again, horse and buggy, because they travel faster on the highways than most of the cars sitting over there in a traffic jam.
Right.
My God, how much gas are we eating? You take 100,000 cars and one idiot gets the engine check light that comes on and slams on their brakes or whatever, drops their cell phone, spills their coffee in their lap. They have a fender bender. 10,000 cars are stuck.
I'm going to get a Kelpie.
Yeah, how much gas and how much fumes are you breathing in? Why don't you just get out of the car and start breathing in all those fumes, because you're going to die no matter what, but you're going to die probably in a traffic jam.
If you get a Kelpie, then you're going to end up drowning.
And you know about the Kelpie, right, Mike?
Which one?
It's Scottish folklore about a water horse.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The water horse. Yes, I know that.
A shape shifter, yeah.
Yeah. They'll pull you down and stuff like that. It's like Nessie. Nessie. There are different Ogopogo. There's Nessie, Ogopogo, and Champ, and there's a bunch of this. Now, these things kind of dormant.
It's going. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah. Now in Sweden, they have one in Sweden. I forgot the name of it, but they are like dogs and cats. They understand when an earthquake is going to happen. And so what they do is they come to the surface because they're low-level creatures. So if an earthquake, there's a shift, you're talking about a lot of energy coming up from that shift. And then they go, oh, I can't stay down here. So I go up. And guess what? There's some flunky drunk sailor out there saying, oh, look, I saw a mermaid. And it's like, okay, no, that's an ancient creature that survived the last, drier,
younger driest period.
Yeah, younger driest period. I'm going, gee whiz, wake up.
Survive cataclysmic events.
The only way to survive is under the water. The only way to survive is under the water, and the only way to get away from volcanoes and earthquakes that are under the water, the vents that are down there, is to go to the surface. So all of a sudden you have these megalodon sharks we haven't seen in 1,000 years, and then all of a sudden they're on the surface and we're making movies about them. Gigantic squids we haven't seen in 200, 400 years. Here they are on the surface. It was like, what the hell? What are they getting? What's going on with that? It's like, gee whiz, where's the hippie tie?
Linda wants to know where your hippie tie
is. This is my new tie.
Guys are great.
It's not. I don't have any hippie ties because hippies don't wear ties. They wear tie-dye shirts.
That's where you were going with Rupert Sheldrake.
I have a Jerry Garcia tie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. There's an old, I just got to bring this up, old documentary of Rupert Sheldrake and about 5 other Oxford scientists out in the middle of
Terence McKenna.
Terence McKenna was one in there.
Out in the middle of a field in England. And Rupert says, just because I have a 5-pound note doesn't mean that 5-pound note's a forgery. So if I said that this 5-pound note was a forgery, that means all 5-pound notes must be forged. These scientists were looking at him like, yeah, it's just all fake. And they just walked away. And I'm sitting there going, you guys don't even, they don't have a clue.
More for their foraging rather than
right.
foraging.
They're
good foraging, those guys.
It was like, okay, the idiot train, the Darwin train is pulled in. I think some of these guys need to get on because they're just going to kill us all. Because they don't have a life. They don't have a girlfriend. They live in their basement. And it's like, yeah, sure. I grew up with the hippies. I didn't have long hair, but I had several tie-dye shirts and I had elephant ear blue jeans. And man, I thought I was cool, but that was just the time. Only the Midwesterns, had button fly 905 Levi's or something like that. And they thought they were cool. It's like, man, go out west, get on the surfboard, then you're cool, dude. You're cool.
Bruh.
Bruh, And it's like the other day I used the term I used the term gravy. It's like, oh man, this is so sweet. I said it's like gravy, And then that's a surfer term and a liter.
Where we go?
Points out that a liter is 0.264 a gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, getting back to a lot of weird things. David Adair's to be given $3 trillion to build Elysium, the movie. In space. Yes. And he has ordered 6 space shuttles that we used to have from, not Boston Dynamic, Boeing. From Boeing. And they're going to make them a special way with a new outer coating that he has designed. And then they're going to launch sections up into space with heavy rockets and also with the new industrial never to blow up, I hope, space shuttle. And he is cursing NASA for not using their brains to make better products, or we would already be on Mars. We would have established cities and colonies on Mars. And David's right. David's right. People are looking at their jobs via retirement. They're not looking at their jobs like, hey, what can I discover? What can I get done? They're like saying, David Adair.
David
Adair.
Yep.
Go to YouTube, Jack Kilowatt. Go to YouTube, type in David Adair conference in England, and he is laying it out. And if I could flip him my resume, man, I would definitely do that. But man, so here we are. I grew up with James Bond and a couple of dry martinis, and he's driving around and getting the bad guy. Well, I didn't know one of my good heroes was going to be on an island building space weapons right out of one of his things, one of his movies. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, here's David Adair. He's the guy I trust, and he's a great physicist. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, he's not turned into an evil, megalomaniac. He's just a good guy who's been given a ton of money to do exactly what he loves. And I think that's good when good people get rewarded for doing what they love and good stuff.
Absolutely.
I salute that. Because there's so many of us in the trenches, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on on toys and stuff like you were talking about, REM pods and meters and stuff like that. And
very simple electronics.
But
what can you do with greater electronics? And I'm surprised we don't see this as much now. I think the idea of haunted phone calls from ghosts.
Oh,
kind of was a bigger thing when we had landlines, right? Now that we're on cell phones, it's not that it doesn't exist. We hear reports of that, but it seems like it's not as big a deal.
Fax machines, of course not, because we're getting more and more sensitive with our scanning, our scanners. Our basic scanning.
Like a cutoff in technology.
Yeah,
but
but that was because back in the late 70s, 1978, somebody, Billy Graham or the Pope or some religious leader told the president that they were all demonic. This was all demonic. And then all of a sudden between 78 and 84, it just disappears. Whoosh, it's gone. Nobody, they're all sitting there making the Macintosh in their garages. They're all sitting there making windows and all this other stuff. Sunnydale,
DOS, baby.
California, went into high gear. But none of this was for spiritual or psychic research. Okay, except for Project Stargate. And that was the only thing, because the Russians had started their own psychic research. And so we had to compete with them. So if it was not, again, part of the war plan of the war for either defense or attack, no money was appropriated. And then what had happened was we had built sensitive computer boards and electronics that required more sensitive tools. Okay. And that is what led into detecting atmospherical changes, electrons flows. This is where you get the REM pod and electrons get to it and go crazy. That's all from tech. That's just tech. I keep telling my friends that is just tech, man. And till you trust that data that comes out of that and can put it down on paper and it will take you someplace. I said that's just tech, And I've known guys spend $5,000 and up to $25,000 on their tech and their van, and they drive around like Scooby-Doo saying, "We got it." It's like, man, dude, Jason and Grant ain't got it. There are a couple of plumbers out there. They ain't got it.
Here in Rhode Island, yes, that's where. Yeah,
over
here.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like Warwick, Rhode Island. Like, oh yeah, these guys are going to be, it's like
Yeah, but
221B Baker Street has more credibility than Warwick, Rhode Island. Geez. But anyway,
Oh, we got an airport over there. I think augmented reality is kind of an interesting arena for ghosts to show up. Now everybody's got those ghost apps, and it just puts a ghost in.
Yeah,
but augmented reality is kind of the next stage of virtual reality, usage of existing environments. But
yeah, okay. Now, I have an Alexa. I know it's spying
don't
on
say
me.
the name out loud.
Okay, I can't say the name out loud. Okay, I have an Alexa. Okay, I asked my Alexa, I said, can you hear ghosts? And she goes, yes. So she knows that there's ghosts. I don't need to buy all this stuff.
Yeah, but she is a ghost.
Yeah, she is. She's a basic AI. And so I'm sitting there going, if she can hear it, then her microphone is within the parameters for doing this. Okay. So I was on a live show, and it was a radio show. It was not videotaped. I wish I was on videotape. But anyway, so I took this guy's wireless microphone, and you can look this up. You can get the specs in this, and you can hold up this wireless microphone. And what I did was I said, "Are there any ghosts here? And what is your name?" Now, the psychic in the room got really flustered and like, oh, there's no ghost in here, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, yeah. And I just like held the wireless mic up, and I go, okay, mic is open. You can say anything you want. Just say your name or whatever. And then everybody just looked at me and like, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. Lynch is crazy. Lynch is just crazy SOB or something. It was like, okay, fine. Okay. They went back. And they got that section of tape. Oh, it was digital, but it was all digital. And they went back and they got that section. And guess what? It goes, my name is Magellan or something like that. McKellen or something like that. It was like an Irish name. But
you're going to say kid.
No, Muck, MC Kellen, something like that. Yeah. And he goes, my name is, and the guy who's the host of the show just goes, freak. And then so I come in the next day for the radio show, and he has got that section about 40 times on that show. Okay. I'm only on there for about an hour doing my segment, but before I get on there, and then after I come off, he's like playing that segment because he says, this is the proof of the afterlife. Well, but he's a skeptic, so he can't say that. But his own equipment proved there was an afterlife that communicated to him to respond to my question. And I'm sitting there going,
it was an EVP that you got on the microphone.
Yeah, it was it was we call it a pulse. We don't call it a voice phenomenon. We call it electrical pulse phenomenon because it's pulsing energy out at us within the bandwidth of that microphone. Okay. And he is like the notorious, I'm a skeptic. Well, after about 14 years of me being on the show, he couldn't say that anymore because the evidence was piling up, video evidence, audio evidence from their own equipment, from their own technicians. And they couldn't deny it anymore. They just couldn't. And for him to sit there and say, well, I'm the antagonist. I'm just going to make fun of all this stuff. And it's like, dude, the audience doesn't want that. They want the truth. They don't want some naysayer out there, just clogging up the.
What do you think of Linda Judd's comment there? She says sound waves can bounce off the stratosphere and reach the direct opposite place from you. Are you saying that's, I don't know.
Well, Linda, we all know about Project HARP, don't we?
Oh,
yeah.
Started.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you the secret. They may come and get me tomorrow. I don't care. Okay, in the stratosphere at a certain thousands of feet, about 68,000 or a little bit lower, it's called the ionosphere. And we can shoot a signal up there and it will bounce around into the ionosphere and end up somewhere in the ocean. We can talk to submarines from Alaska, and the submarines can be way out in the middle of the Pacific, hundreds of feet below. Now at 1,200 feet, at 1,200 feet below the surface of the ocean, a submarine can sit there and ping a message out and it will go virtually halfway around the world. We don't need satellites if you're in that type of medium. So yeah, I can shoot up into the stratosphere a signal through Project HARP, and that will corrupt the jet stream and everything else. Okay, but at the same ratio in the ocean, I can do the same thing. I can send out a ping, a message, and it will go halfway around the world. It's you don't have to be. Now, this is why my argument with psychics for a long time. I don't argue with them anymore. But anyway, so the point is that is the ghost in the room? Are you talking to the ghost in the room, or talking to the ghost somewhere in the afterlife? Proximity is the worst thing a psychic can do. So what I did was I had my camera, a Canon Snapshot 30, I think it was 30. I know the 30s, 40s, and 50s can do this. They changed the flash, but you can take out a camera snapshot. You can find them on the internet virtually for free. Canon Snapshot 30. Start taking pictures. Boom, 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 boom. And you'll see that orb sitting right there in that room. And I will tell the psychic, is that the ghost we're talking to? And she goes, I don't know. Because why? It's panpsychism. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Be great.
So they don't know. They don't know. That's the whole point. They have a computer chip.
Comments? Yeah.
Got some long statements here, man. I can't read them all that fast. Evidence is tangible. Yeah.
Questions, some comments.
Yeah. Yeah, that's evidence.
People investigate. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's a good comment there.
Yes.
We've had phone calls from the dead, fax machines from the dead, computer emails from the dead. Okay. All of this makes sense. And then, but years and years ago, on ham radio, people were getting music and stuff like that had no broadcast connection. And so they were like, on ham radios. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of things that were going on with ham radios that they just, it's atmospheric problems or whatever. But I know that guys in Chicago through ham radio could talk to people in Mexico. Right. On their ham radio. So when the atmosphere was correct, they could do a lot of that. But if they got foreign voices or they got anomalies, they just threw them out. There was no one to report to at that time. Now the FCC has kind of stepped into the ham radio communication scenario, and ham radios are now all digital, so we don't have the analog interference, but at the same time, we don't get the reception we used to get. And that's the first thing, man, I don't know why people don't bring this up. The first change in our atmosphere, Aurora Borealis, CMEs from the sun, whatever, altered ham radio completely, just altered it. You couldn't get a signal 40, 50 feet. I mean, if somebody did it 100 miles, they were lucky, And guess what? The military and all emergency personnel at the time carried shortwave radios. That's how they communicated.
Yeah, shortwave radio is interesting. One of my favorite ITC people, one that we like a lot, is Annabella Cardoso, and she's this Portuguese woman. She's an older woman, and she uses shortwave radio pretty much exclusively to communicate with an afterlife or maybe a coexisting life. She calls them operators, which is kind of an old school kind of term.
Yeah.
But, there's guys that have been doing it for a long time talk about operators and that sort of thing. Like they're bridging the connections to the spirits, right? There's like somebody like an intermediary person.
Yeah. Okay.
Her shortwave radio doesn't scan at all. She leaves it tuned to a station that has nothing on it.
That's right. Okay. Now let me just back up. I just want to back up just a second. Okay. So we have reel-to-reel tape and a microphone gets EVPs. We have digital recorders that get EVPs. We have video that captures consciousness. We have ham radio that gets voices. Okay. This is evidence, folks, of an environment that propagates this form of communication. I can't say it enough. There is an environment, a medium that propagates. Okay, if electricity couldn't go down a copper wire, why would we use it? You see what I'm saying? Why would we use it? I don't know. You know, so the whole point is if it works, we're using it. If it doesn't work, why are we using it? And it's not the observer, it's not some psychological denial or whatever. It's the point is that something works and we're going to use it and it's going to stack up evidence. And every time we come up with a new thing, we get closer and closer to finding out more evidence.
Well, I think
And that's
work.
And that's the truth. Okay, but see, in physics and everything, they're like, okay, they're dodging it. They're just dodging the whole thing. They're not even approaching it. They won't approach it. Okay. Rupert Sheldrake said something about the Amazing Randy, and he goes, why don't I take the Amazing Randy skeptic $1 million or whatever with my findings? Mm-hmm. And he goes, one, I don't trust the Amazing Randy. And he goes, he may have the money, but I don't trust him. He's not a man of ethics. Okay. And I go, Rupert, dude, I don't trust 90% of the people in the scientific field because of their ethics, because of their flat out ethics, Rupert. Right. It's like, I'm not looking at Amazing Randy. He's not so amazing. He's just another idiot running around there saying that nothing works. Well, once he died, I'm sure him and his creator had a long talk. And
I wonder if
yeah.
You know,
yeah, I'm sure they had
my brother called me when I got to New Hampshire. He had died the year before. My phone started calling his number out of the blue.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Instance of that.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. How else are they going to try to communicate with you? The Fox sisters started the entire psychic phenomenon with knocks. Right.
Knocking on the table.
Yeah. Okay. Well, SOS. I mean, the Morse code is all in knocks. That's how they're going to communicate. They just take whatever level of understanding of communication that they can derive.
Jack has a comment for you. Question says, Doc, would you say that ghost spirits exist in the tachyon field and therefore are able to interact with us through that field from any space and time?
Bingo. That is totally correct statement, Jack. Okay. Let's say, you're a little baby. You're a little boy. Okay, this is the same. Your grandmother dies. Well, your grandmother goes off to the other side and you start to grow up. And then all of a sudden you start getting the sense and smells and ideas that your grandmother's voice. Okay. You're a little boy. She's dead. Okay. And then you grow up and you're an old man and she's still there. That's space and time. That's coordinate evaluation. She is right there with you all your life. That's coordinate evaluation. So that means that energy, that communication, that intelligence did not disappear. It's in the tachyon field.
Yeah.
And it's panpsychism. That's okay. So
I should point out panpsychism is a philosophy, not necessarily a science.
Bingo. But I'm saying it's potato. It is a science that we have not even addressed. Not even addressed. Okay, I have addressed it. I don't wear a dress. I have addressed it, and then they still look at me like, "Oh, this is totally taboo," you know.
Incarnate Paranormal mentions everyone's used AM/FM radios, but what about World Band? Well, we were talking about shortwave. Look up Annabella Cardoso for shortwave radio, ITC communications. It's incredible. The one channel, and she gets like entire paragraphs. Really cool stuff. She's got a website out there. I think it's itcjournal.org, something like that. It's fantastic.
But what I'm saying is every time we advance our form of communication, they try to communicate. Now, there was a guy named Russ something Vadima. I can't think of his first name. But anyway, he was like the creator of the ITC situation. And he said that he is working with people on the other side to build devices so they can communicate with us. And I thought, That's cool. But until that time, 432 or 425. I think it's 425 or 432. It's the resonant frequency of the planet, and that's 7.5 cycles.
To
I think it's like
Linda's question, she's asking if there's a common frequency we can build into a phone-like device that would allow us to talk to ghosts easily.
Absolutely.
So
And I can tell you,
432, you're talking about the resonance of the planet.
yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So we know that there's different frequencies around 435, 425, 435 is that frequency of consciousness transmission. Now, reception is a different thing. Now, okay, we built an entire cell network that covers the freaking planet. I can pick up a cell phone and I can call China right now, okay, through satellites and cell and bounces
Somebody
around.
might answer.
Right. But that is so primitive compared to what we need to do to talk to entities. And they can try as much as they want. But let me just put it back. Maybe let's hold back just for a second. I know for a fact there are extraterrestrial entities that have this device and they communicate in real time. Being telepathic or having a device, which I know that they do, they can talk to anyone, anywhere that has ever lived or died, ever lived. If I want to talk to Benjamin Franklin, I just like, hey, Ben, they just pick it up. The frequency of the tachyon field is what we're trying to narrow down right now, Linda. And that is the hardest because it is everywhere. It's everywhere. And so we have to eliminate one thing at a time. There's over 5,000 domestic frequencies, and there's probably 10,000 on top of that. So everything has to be reduced. As what we have come to is finding the physics of consciousness. So here's 432. Yeah, thank you, Jack. The thing is that 432. No, what was it? I hate that. We will have this device pretty soon, but it's going to take more than $3 trillion and a floating space station. You know what I'm saying? We will have it. We will get it, and we will have that tachyon field. Finding the field is just like finding the wire. I got a wire connected to in my phone, like in the old days. You had a wire that connected your phone. We found that wire. Now we've got to find that phone. We're stumbling around in the dark. Got to find that phone and then say, oh, hey, I can make a call. I can talk to somebody.
Right.
99%, if not a little bit less, is psychically done. They communicate to you through your dreams, through your stage of sleep, when you're coming out and when you're going down. Alpha, beta, alpha, theta, delta. And then as you start to go down, they'll talk to you. I've heard my name called when I'm waking up, and I wake up kind of slowly. I'll hear someone call my name, and it's like they're right there in the room. There's another ghost story out there where this guy, he worked this weird shift. I don't know why he was working this weird shift, but he worked this weird shift, and his house was haunted by a little girl named Sarah.
Graveyard shift by chance?
Yeah, it could be. Could be. I think maybe it was. But anyway. So his house was haunted by this little girl named Sarah. And when he would forget to set his alarm, Sarah would come and wake up. And he never was late for work at all. That little girl woke him up when he didn't set his alarm. And that's all because he was in this hypnagogic state, like you talk about, state that he was coming out and becoming aware of this. So we get it. It comes through our brain, Miss Judd. It comes through, Linda. It comes through our brain all the time. It penetrates, but we can't find it. It's elusive, but it goes forward and backward in time. It stabilizes our consciousness. Without it, we couldn't exist.
I like that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, okay. I got one more thing. What time is it? I got one more thing. Oh, it's 8. Okay. Oh, you guys want to shut down for the night? Are you guys tired?
You can do one more thing.
One more thing is fine.
We can do it.
Okay. device is otherwise nothing more than a tangible evidence for the naysayers. That's true. That's correct. That's correct. If you do not hand them an inch thick of diagnostic reports to a skeptic, I don't even care what the skeptics say. If you don't hand them an inch thick of your research, photographs, audio recordings, name it, video, whatever, and stack it on their desk, they can still deny it. The Condon report did that. The Condon report about UFOs did that.
Yeah.
All that stuff that Blue Book had, photographs, eyewitness reports, all that stuff. Condon sit there and said, yeah, it's nothing.
To the comments, Jack and Echo Leaf about the 432 versus, it's actually 440.
440, 444. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, let me finish. 432 is the natural. And I think it was up until the 1920s. And I don't think it was a church that changed it. I think it was the music industry themselves.
Yes.
Bands went a little sharp. Now, when you buy like a guitar tuner, you're tuning to 440. So you look A440. But the natural resonance instrument prior to that was 432.
Yes.
And there may be something to that whole 432 thing. If you go on YouTube, there's all kinds of, probably your favorite record in the world is there in 432. People detune it slightly with software. And like we listened to some of our favorite Rush records in 432 and found them to be a little warmer. So
Right. Now, I want to tell everyone about frequencies and sound. Sound is a three-dimensional waveform. It is not flat. It's not, it is 3D. And your voice, like your consciousness, is a wave packet of information. It's a wave packet, meaning it works. The reason why you understand me is because my vocal cords work in a pattern that you understand. The same thing is consciousness. It's a wave packet of multiple different frequencies working in unison, not prioritaries. But that's the whole idea. Okay, let me go back. I had one more thing. I got it right here, but man, you got me on physics now, man. I'm like, oh yeah, God. There's just so much I could tell you. There's just okay. Let's talk about one more thing, and then I'll go to the last thing. I'll give me this a few more minutes here.
Okay.
Okay, the Tic Tac. Everybody knows about the Tic Tac, right? And it's called a stellarator. A stellarator. Okay, a stellarator is Tony Stark. He had that thing on his chest, and it was like going around and around. And the more it went around in a certain way, more energy was generated, right? Okay, it's called a stellarator, and we can now take the stellarator, run ions through it, and generate electricity, just thousands and thousands of watts. Well, okay, so the stellarator is actually a known well piece of physics, and no one knows what to do with it, yada, yada, yada. So the thing is how the Tic Tac, how the giant whites, the tall whites ships work is that they run this energy through a fiber optic, it's a hollow fiber optic cable is what it is. It's a hollow fiber optic cable. And how it was described to me at first, platonic solids. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. How it was described to me at first was like a neon tube. In the old days, we used to have neon signs, and there was a gas that went through a new neon tube. Once the gas was ignited, it would glow a certain color or whatever. Right. Well, so anyway, I'm sitting there going, Tony Stark isn't that stupid. He wouldn't have done something like figured out how all this works. Well, anyway, so the thing is I'm watching Iron Man. I go, oh my God, that's a stellarator, and the stellarator is in a big device. It's a big device, and so the energy is just kind of it's just kind of lucid. It's just kind of milling around in this fluid dynamic situation. Okay, so the deal is that how the tall whites and how the Tic Tac work is that they send ions down a hollow fiber optic tube. Yeah. And there are millions of them, or thousands, let's say hundreds of thousands, of these fiber optic tubes. And the stellarator can quickly run those electrons down its tubing so fast that it gives you electromagnetic. There you go. That's a stellarator. Yeah. Okay. Think of those.
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just one. That's just one. I mean,
I know, but we just looked it up and there was a bunch of them.
Yeah. Okay. Now, don't think of it like that. Think of it like that energy, the stellarator, is in a fiber optic cable. Okay. And that energy is running through that fiber optic cable, and it's running around the entire ship. Thousands and thousands and thousands. Okay. And okay, this is how it works. So when they want to go forward, they make a gravity well with the stellarator, and then the stellarator, then the ship just goes that way. If they want to back up, they do the same thing. It's whatever the flow of the ions do is how they control it. And the more interfaced they are with the consciousness of the pilot, the more maneuverable it is. So the AI that runs the ship is connected to the pilot's brain. So if there's a tic-tac that comes out of the ocean, he's going to be a distraction. So he's told, okay, go distract those jets. And he goes, okay, no problem. And he zooms off, and then he zooms back, and he zooms off. Okay. Charles Hall said the worst thing what they were most worried about, the tall whites and their ships, was overheating. And in space, you don't have to worry about that because they heat up, they glow, and all that heat just goes out into space. When they're in an atmosphere, okay, they're worried about it overheating, and they don't want that glass, those fiber optic tubes to melt. So what they do, they have vents that come up, okay, or they go underwater to cool themselves down. And that stellarator on a not even microscopic, but on a microscopic scale, and you have thousands and thousands of miles of this wrapping around your ship. And then in that stellarator photo, you saw the magnets on the side of it to maintain it. Okay, those are built into the hull of the ship. So they can, okay, so you turn it one way, you go forward. You turn it one way, you go backward. And you just rotate side to side. It's just it's like turning a dial on where the flow of energy goes.
A little like what Bob Lazar said about the
Element 113, but that was the old ship. You know, and I always asked him, I said, you know, that tic-tac, you know, I said, I think that runs on radiation. They go, no, it runs on a battery. And I said, maybe it's a thorium. Maybe it's a thorium battery, but it's non-lethal to us. It's not lethal to them.
Yeah, but
it contains so much electricity.
Right.
Yeah. And so they're just shooting electrons and energy through these thousands and thousands of miles of optic cables. Optic fibers, and that is what makes that ship fly. Okay, got that figured out. On to my last topic of the day.
A lot of the mysteries of the universe.
Some of the mysteries of the universe. Okay, there has been a debate, which I'm going to resolve right now.
I will sleep a little easier tonight.
Yeah, this is a lot easier, you know.
I will sleep easier because now, you know.
Yeah, okay. So now, yeah, I figured it out. Okay, now the Menanui, and the Tata Duwende are from another planet, and they're very small creatures that protect the forest. In Belize and in Hawaii, they go and give ceremonial sacrifices, which is basically plant, tobacco, beer, sugarcane in Hawaii. They put this on a altar, kind of like a wooden little table, and then they pray to the Menanui that, you know, don't attack me. I'm going to give you these gifts. Don't attack me. I'm not here to destroy anything. You know, let's live in peace and joy. And they do the same thing in Belize with the Tata Duwende, and the images and the Tata Duwende, and the images of both of them and the descriptions are exactly the same.
It's interesting.
And so I said, they could be from off world, and they could be sent here to live in the forest like what? Elves, gnomes, and
Fairies.
fairies, and they're set free, and then
No, we'll
and
give
then
them labels.
and then they give them these mythical, associations, and they say that the Tata Duende and the Mananui both will attack you if you destroy the forest without a blessing, an offering. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's because that's where they live and they want to stay in hiding. Okay. So I got, well, I mean, I want to go to TikTok, but anyway, I got one on my Facebook page. This guy he videotaped one, and his long hair and kind of the raggedy pants. And he's running around this guy's apartment and he's videotaping him. And he says right on there, he goes, I think this is the Tata Duende. I think we videotaped a Tata Duende. And then I found, again, on YouTube, strangely enough, this one girl pulled up all these old photos from like 1930, 1900 of these little guys. I mean, they're like 6 to 7 feet tall. I mean, no, inches tall, 6 to 7 inches tall.
Inches, yes.
And inches. And they're like running around like on the beaches and stuff, like small animals, like pack rats. And it was like, oh my God, this is true.
A little of that movie we saw recently.
Yeah.
Again, it was an old movie with an African fetish that
Trilogy of Terror.
Trilogy of Terror.
You're
Was it
welcome.
Karen Black?
Yeah, it was Karen.
Karen Black.
Good job. Yeah.
Ever see that?
Oh, yeah. In the Trilogy of Terror, that is a Mananui. Okay, because I had the photograph and I sent it to you on
She called it a
Messenger.
Right. Yeah, it was a fetish.
Yeah, it was a fetish, but that is a Papa Nuende. That's a Tata Nuende or a Mananui. And Mananui, it really in old Hawaiian means little man, little hominid. So it's like,
right.
what, it's like, what's going on here, man? The paranormal is just like the greatest field in the world. And I don't know why people don't check this out,
No, we agree.
There's like been
the audience. I'm going to just go through these things. So we'll start to wrap up. I love the story. Tata Nuende.
Tata Nuende. Yeah. I can spell it for you. I know it. It's a Tata, and there's a space, and it's Duende. Okay. And if you go on Google, look up Google Images and type in Tata Duende, and you'll be surprised because right next to it is the same images for Mananui, and that's Menehune. Mananui. You need to repeat that. Anyway, pull up those images. You will be shocked. Shocked, my good man. Shocked that not a lot of people are in this paranormal field.
I look forward to that. It reminds me of like the Fae and our spirits.
Leprechauns. It could be,
Irish, man. Yeah.
Irish.
Oh,
Ireland. I mean,
there is an old movie with Sean Connery in it. Oh God. Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and Sean Connery's in it, and so is another famous female actress who's very, very young. But it's Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and man, my God, that is every Irish folklore rolled into one movie you could ever possibly imagine. And the only thing they don't have it is Tata Nuende. I don't know why, but anyway. But just check out that movie. I love that movie. Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Is that the one that had the leprechaun in the house?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I believe I've seen that. Yeah.
This old caretaker goes out and he captures the chief of the leprechauns.
Yes.
Well,
okay.
They get drunk one night. He
I remember
gets leprechaun drunk, so he can't disappear. And then, so leprechaun thinks, well, I can outdrink him, because I'm, he's a leprechaun. So he starts drinking, and they both get so drunk they pass out. And then
that's cute.
Oh, it's hilarious. And then he takes him into a bar, and he says, "I've got the chief of the leprechauns in this bag." And everyone goes, "Okay, let me look." And he opens it, and it's a rabbit. And everybody just says, "Oh, you drunk, stupid idiot!" Just like, yeah. but anyway, so. Oh, it's hilarious. And so the little people say, well, to the old caretaker, they say, you lived a good long life, but you're talking too much about us and we don't want to be discovered. So we're going to keep you with us down here underground with all this gold and silver and all this gold. And he goes, and so he reaches over to the pile and pulls out this violin. And you know how Irish love their violin. So he pulls it out and he starts playing this jig on it, you know, and the leprechauns get all hopped up and they start riding around on miniature horses and they go, ah! And then they ride off and leave him by himself. And he just walks out. It's just hilarious. It's like
hopped up leprechauns.
Hopped up leprechauns, man. Music and whiskey, man. Do it for any Irish family. Of course, I'm a vodka drinker, so I don't know where that went wrong. But anyway, anyway. Okay, what's this? Doc, you speak of sound 3D. Yes, cymatics. Yeah.
Cymatics, Jack Kilowatt mentions the cymatics, which is a very interesting thing. I'm sure you've seen this, the vibrations.
Yeah.
You take like sand or something, and there's distinct patterns that get formed by the different frequencies, right? Different pitches through like the notes of the scale, you know, and A's. And they're all very geometric and
the patterns. Okay, now I'm going to tell you, your body is resonating at a certain frequency. All of your cells are resonating at a certain frequency. Okay, cymatics proves this. And cymatics in volume 3 or volume 2 or volume 3, I forgot what it was. But anyway, they have a shape, this elongated shape. And they hook it up and they pour chalk on it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what frequency it was, I forgot. But anyway, it starts making like a snake. And it looks just like a snake formation. And then they do something else and it looks like another animal. And it's like, oh, I get it. Everything, all matter has a resonant frequency. And this is what Tesla talks about. He says, I can bring down any building as soon as I find its resonant frequency. Well, the body's the same way. Infrasound works the same way. All this, you know, it's all frequency. That's why Merkaba vehicle of light.
Some say we are the UFO. Interesting.
We're a hybrid, man. We are a messed up hybrid.
Hybrids.
And there was this girl who had a near-death experience, and she got to talk to God, the Creator, and the Creator said, "Come with me." And she goes, "Okay." So he kind of like grabs her by the hand or whatever. And then they go through her entire DNA. It's like spiral. And then he gets like stops. And he goes, "See that?" He goes, "That's me. That's how you know I created you." And she didn't know what gene it was or what number, it was ATGC, whatever. She didn't know. Okay. And she goes, "Wow, that's cool. You're in our DNA." And he goes, "Absolutely." He goes, "That's how you know I created you out of all the secret sauces of the universe." Okay. Deed Raden is running around now, I think it is, saying that through the Kabbalah and all this other pseudoscience magica stuff, that if you take the DNA and you go down the DNA chain or whatever, it spells out in some foreign language, God made me. And he's out there saying, oh yeah, he's professing all this stuff. Elf on the Shelf is real. They're watching you.
Yes.
Don't be naughty. Be nice.
Real.
Not
only is it real, but we are the elf on the shelf.
That's right. We are the superior. I mean, use your powers for helping and not hurting. Be a Powerpuff Girl down deep. Be a Powerpuff Girl. Anyway, underdog.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I had a dream about them. Tata Duende images show up. Their feet are backwards. Yes. And that is an old wives' tale because when they follow the feet prints forward, they would just disappear. And so everyone would think that their feet were on backwards. And so they do that. That's like a wives' tale. Now, if you talk to a professional thief or spy, they do have a pair of shoes that is backwards. And they wear those shoes with the heels on the toes. And so it looks like you went over there when actually you were going someplace else. But the Tata Nuindi and the Minanui climb up into trees, little bushes. They climb up in there and then they drop down and they start their footprints. And then when they're done, they jump back up, and then their footprints disappear. So that's why a lot of people thought they were Powerpuff activated. That's right. You do it, Joshua.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea that these things, get out there. But in spy tech, yeah, that's how you throw everybody off. The old pioneers, when they were trying to get away from the Indians, they would wrap branches around their feet, so it would, so the boot wouldn't, dig down to the ground. So they put branches around their feet, and they'd run around, hiding from the Indians. And that's how kind of camouflage and all this other stuff, got created. Well, children, it has been a pleasure. I'm done. I've said everything I can say for tonight, but
Just for tonight.
Just
but
for
like,
tonight.
yeah,
You're
and then,
coming back and stuff because good friend of ours.
yeah, but after you go through thousands of near-death experiences, thousands of genetic reports. Now, I'm just say one last thing. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, Tata Nuindi, yeah. Now, I want you to look at his hat. Okay. And if you type off Elf on the Shelf, guess what hat he's wearing?
Oh, I bet.
It's the same hat. Yeah. The elves and the elves, the Tata Nuindi, the Mananui are all derived from almost the same thing. Now
that hat reeks of wisdom and magic.
Gandalf wore that hat.
That's right.
Gandalf wore that hat.
And he also had the walking stick.
Yeah, he had the stick too. It was like, no one shall pass. So,
Yes.
Again, like Gandalf worked in energy, and he told that hobbit, he goes, "Do you think I just light off fireworks for your amusement?" It's like, no. He's like, I'm a sorcerer. I deal in magicka. Not magic, but magicka.
He made his own fireworks.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's a guy who can control his power and knows what he's dealing, with. And this is what gets me is, okay, in the old days, the term professor was someone who knew a skill and was teaching it to naive people. A physician was someone who knew how to do medical stuff and was going to teach it to other people. So Galen, a war during the Roman Empire and also during war, learned so much that he actually developed a teaching school for operating on patients. And he also ended up doing plastic surgery on victims of war where they got scars and stuff like that. And he would go in and repair them. But Galen was called like the first physician, okay, because he healed people. Okay, a few hundred years later, more or less, they called Jesus the great physician because he could raise people back from the dead. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, but yeah, and only one place in the New Testament where Jesus took his apostles to the side and said, okay, this is how you're going to heal people. I'm going to teach you how to heal people. And that was the only time. So they didn't get it that time. I don't think they ever got it any other time. Live in our consciousness.
Archetypes live in our consciousness, and that is why they'll be eternally recreated in every culture.
That's correct.
Yeah, I agree. Archetypes, very interesting. Collective consciousness, as Carl Jung put it, very interesting stuff, and may be responsible for some of the paranormal phenomena we witness today.
That was just sex and violence. Okay, the idea is that, okay, all this goes back to Plato, and the consciousness studies go back to Plato, and ghost investigations go back to Pliny the Younger. Okay, that's 2,000 some odd freaking years, and we still haven't figured it out. Well, that's okay, because modern physics hasn't figured shit out in 80 years. So with all the money we've thrown at it, all
right, Jeannie says, think of an event that you're involved in. Now, do you remember it? Typically, it's around you, not from your eyesight view. We're not limited to just the inside of our bodies. Great point.
That's correct. Our consciousness is 20 minutes into the future. Your body inside is already preparing for whatever is going to happen in 20 minutes. So if you're going to drink a poison by accident, or if you're going to be in a car accident, your body now is already adjusting. rise from your grave.
That is
Gifts
this.
from
Rise from your grave.
Yeah.
Ultra.
Go for it, man. Fight the
I love
empire. Stick it to the man. Yeah, down deep, I am a hippie. But, down deep, I am hippie.
That's an old video game.
But
I
shoot,
like
man. Now I'm not Timothy Leary hippie. I want you guys to know that. I'm not tuned.
You don't ride the
in-
magic bus?
Don't tune in, don't tune out, or whatever. Tune in, tune out, drop out, whatever. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm saying expand your mind. Don't treat physics as the end all with all for everything, and get out there and question the universe. Demand
Absolutely.
demand the universe to give you answers, and be tenacious. But if you're doing it for the wrong reason, you'll never find out. If you're trying to sell a book or get a TV show or whatever, man, no, get in there because you want to do it. You want to find out. What? You're a bookworm hippie? Thank you, Linda.
You are.
I'll get you some lump of coal from Krampus. Free spirit over hippie. Well, free spirit was a bra. That's what kills me. Women were burning their bras, and then all of a sudden, Playtex comes out and says, "We're going to give you a free spirit bra." What the hell does that mean? It's like make a free spirit girdle. I think they actually made one of those 18-hour girdles for women. And it's like, why are you always like throwing a name on like the Patriot Act? The Patriot Act was to take away our civil rights, not to make us more patriotic. God, it's like they always, double label it, double meaning. It's all marketing. They've sold us on a bill of goods for a very long time. But okay,
Absolutely.
Let me just. I'm just going to say this. Take it for what it's worth. Okay, NASA spends like $1 billion. Their budget's not very big, but it's like $1 billion a year on whatever they do. Okay. On other planets, their psychics go out into the universe through technical remote viewing or just psychic evaluations, and they go out and they find planets that have life on them. Okay.
Don't doubt this.
How much money does that take? It takes 25 minutes or 30 minutes in a room with lights, pencils, and a stellar map. Okay, it costs nothing. Okay. And that's where we sit. We deal with energy and we work with it, or we sit there and build bots and fly them to Mars to run around just to find out what we could find out. Ingo Swann proved that.
Yeah, he did
100 times.
Saw the ice rings around Jupiter prior to the space probe that was launching around the time.
The government has paid for these experiments over and over again, and we still sit back and say, we don't know. We don't know what observable science is anymore. It's just blowing my mind. We're befuddled by all the information and evidence that we don't understand. Like that. Like, oh, poor baby. I'm going to buy you a violin, man, so you can sit there in the street and collect coins.
World's tiniest violin.
Yeah, I was like, it's like, oh, cry me a river, man. I'm just like, oh God. Okay, so if you're in the paranormal field and you feel like you're trudging up that hill and pushing that boulder and you can't go anymore, man, it takes all of us to push that boulder. It takes a village to create a kid. It takes a civilization to conquer the world. It takes everybody in the field, podcasters, researchers, investigators. It takes everybody. Don't just think like, I'll do this. I'll buy this product, and then that's going to solve the equation. Yeah, okay, that lump of coal worked, I guess. So it's like
very well put. Thank you. No, I mean what you said about the it takes
it takes everybody. It takes everybody. Now you guys are going to start a network pretty soon. You're hoping to start a network.
Yes.
And it's like, 100% behind that. And like I said, I know other people who do this. It's really launched. It's broadened the acceptability And like I said, if we can get away from the drama or the ego trips and get down to the information, we can really make some headway. Personal transformation.
Yeah,
to change
yeah, and
the
it's more
world.
like a
well,
group of
yeah,
affiliated-
in a way, yeah.
Hmm.
It takes some personal transformation, but at the same time, it just takes the confidence to say, this is what I want to do. I don't care if the Pope calls me and tells me I'm a lunatic. Well, who cares, Pope? You're OCD, so you're OCD. So go out there and break some bread and drink some wine. Talk about a hippie. Jeez. Anyway, I forgot what I said. But anyway, look up David Adair. Look up my favorite guy, Rupert Sheldrake.
Panpsychism, we're big fans of him.
Yeah,
like
panpsychism, pan-stupidism, pan-idiotism is way out there with pan-moronic. Moron. I have a refrigerator. I call it the pen moron. I say, you're the pen moron. Whatever. Yes. Yes. We are all family. All of our souls are all connected in this thing that we call reality. But we are spirits having a human experience, and we need to address that. And that's where it all comes from. And I just want to show dragons. Okay, I'm not a wine drinker, bread breaker, hippie. I'm not either. Come on, I like a good Chardonnay just as much as anybody. I grew up in California. If you weren't drinking wine like a Roman, then geez, you had to. If you weren't peeing Cabernet, you weren't a Californian. You know what I'm saying? But we used to sit in the hot tub and drink wine and eat grapes and talk about all the crazy people out there.
You're living in ancient Rome.
Right.
Yeah, we are Roman. We are the last Roman country. There is no other country. Okay. There was Rome.
I prefer to be fed the grapes.
As a power. And okay.
Ron.
Yeah, I want some of those. I want that fan that has those palm leaves on it that swirls around. I want my own. I can't afford someone to do it for me. But yeah, we are the last. We are the last Romans. And let me tell you, when we start to decivilize and we don't get those products that we normally would have, we will pay dearly. We will pay through the nose for whatever to keep that lifestyle. And Rome did, and they went totally bankrupt. So we're working our way there at 30 trillion, it'll be 40 trillion pretty soon. Shit, we can't keep up the Roman lifestyle for very long. So I just want
Jack,
I've got your Bacchus. Okay. But yeah.
Romanness though. Bacchus. I got your Bacchus.
E2 Brute. You're gonna stab me in the back, aren't you? But anyway, so there was this. Oh, I forgot it now. But anyway, it was an old Greek. It was a Greek word, and I was gonna use it, but anyway, I forgot it now. Hey,
that's all right,
guys. You guys are great. Keep up.
You're great. Thank you so much for being on again. We really enjoyed our conversations. Always interesting.
Always
I try.
Places, didn't expect to go and enjoyed the ride. When I was not out in the field looking for ghosts and stuff like that, I did paranormal news for my radio segment. And so I'm doing like 50-50 now. I do consciousness studies. I'll roll that into some paranormal news. I'll, sit there and roll that around. But I can tell you this, there's no anthropologist on the planet, none, that believe in the Tata Duende or the Mananui. There's none. There's no archaeologists out there putting, anthropologists putting bones together and saying, "Oh, we found the nut." No, they found the Hobbit down there in.
I was just going to say,
in not Australia, but
Homo florensis.
Yeah, Homo florensis. They found that dude. Yeah, but they haven't found a Papua New. So there is so much in the paranormal field. We are now finding this truth. And everyone is looking at me like, oh God,
No, but you're right.
Don't give that guy any money. Don't give that guy any money.
Right. That's what everybody has to remember is you will not get funded because they say it's pseudoscience, and that's it's not true.
Doesn't fit the mold.
Nope, doesn't fit the mold. We're not going to do this.
Rupert Sheldrake said in his last big interview, he said, I'm going to start the pseudoscience foundation.
There you go. I love that.
And I thought, yes, do that.
He's going to pull Graham Hancock in with him and everybody else. And
exactly.
Don't say Graham Hancock.
Oh, I didn't mean to say it like
Graham Hancock was Graham Hancock was a reporter for The Economist, and he got stumbled on into the whereabouts of the Ark of the Covenant. And that is what got him kind of into this field. And anyway, but Graham is not wrong. Everything Graham does is from the auspice. Okay, now Shelley King, not Shelley. What's her name? Leslie King. Leslie King does this thing on a Netflix called The Afterlife or Surviving the Afterlife. Whatever. But anyway, it's like, okay, Leslie, you're a great reporter, but this show sucks. And it's like Graham Hancock did his stuff on Netflix, and it's like he's right. Every time you turn around, he is right. He does his research, he does his facts, he turns around.
Apocalypse is the name of the series.
Oh yeah. The Younger Dryers. It fits. The pattern fits.
Of course, we saw something the other day that is like so cool about the Day of the Dead and thousands and thousands of years ago, and how it actually
it's Randall Carson
from there, and it was Randall Carson.
Who also talks about those things. Yeah.
Dr. Shaw.
He's a geologist. Fascinating guy. And
Freemason too.
Yeah, he brought about that thing with Halloween. Well, this sort of celebration of the dead occurring late October, early November, and all these different cultures around the world. And he tied it back to Younger Dryas. And there was probably a mass extinction event that has left an imprint on all these cultures. So they tell the stories, and therefore the stories become legends and holidays. But speaking of holidays, the old Yuletide Krampus is coming around. What do you think of Krampus?
Cool dude.
Oh yeah, he's freaking cool.
He's freaking cool.
I'm the Grinch, so yeah.
So yeah, the Grinch. There's a couple of lines in the Grinch movie, and the Grinch says, let me look at my schedule, and he pulls out the schedule. He goes, a dinner with myself. Oh, I can't miss that one. I got to be there, And he goes to this schedule where it's all about him doing his own thing. And he says, "Oh, I can't pass that up." He finds thousands of ways to avoid going to the parade. And that is so cool. That's so cool. The Ark of the Covenant was a sign that read "breathe." Was just a sign that read "breathe." Breath. Maybe it's breath you're talking about. And that is the breath of God. Yes. Inside the ark is supposed to be the original 10 Commandments and part of Moses' staff. And from it was the breath of God. And so you need to get into that. Now, in the Indiana Jones movie, it shows like this power coming out of the ark and, killing anyone who's standing in its way, and they call that the breath of God. And later they talk it's a communication device to God, and technically maybe it is, but the whole point is that Moses borrowed the ark, that design, that whole concept from the ancient Egyptians. So he knew how to make that a energy conducting unit from the ancient Egyptians because he was in that school that did that.
So Yahweh.
Well, Yahweh, yeah, give me a break. Yeah. Yahweh, Jehovah, and a couple of the other so-called gods were just space aliens.
That's another show.
Straight out of the Old Testament. And I can give you a scripture and verse, man. Even Jesus was a Pleiadian human hybrid. He may be a multiple dimensional creature and did all this good stuff, but he was a Pleiadian. Clear and simple. His father was Jack. Sounds like okay. It's not, but that's just the way it is. It's a plan. Yeah, it's all a plan. We were created. Okay. We have less DNA than a chimpanzee.
Told you.
And one of our genes is fused, and then that's what gives us our humanity. Okay. But there are so many life forms out there in space that say we helped hybridization you over 200,000 years so that you would be where you're at today. And when you get down to the nuts and bolts and UFOs and MUFON and the U.S. government and U.S. Air Force and Jack Black and whoever else is out there,
hybrid.
the whole thing boils down to is the reason why we are the way we are today is that they needed camouflage and they needed workers. So we look so much like them, they can come down and intermingle with us, buy companies, trade in stock, show us some gold. And we don't ask any questions. We just sit there and go, yes, yes. Look at Bitcoin. Okay, skip Bitcoin. There is only like a couple of companies on the planet in America that have monopolized so much. And you wonder why that is. It's because it was a plan to do it. It's not a conspiracy as much as it is a plan to control and then jack the prices up for funding for anything they want. Anything they want. So, okay. So I was on another show at another one of your shows, and I was asked if I ever met a extraterrestrial. And I said at the time, not knowingly. Well, I've just been informed that one day I was out at a store. Can't tell you which one. It's not a sponsor. And so I met them there. And when I saw them, I said, I wonder what ship they served on. Wow. And they were a mother and daughter, looking identical, just difference in ages, tall, strong, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. They looked like they just came off a Satoshi
Nakamoto.
Is that the first emperor of Japan or China? First emperor of China? Sure. Because he was.
Wasn't he Juan D? Wasn't that Juan?
Yeah, oh, Juan D. Yeah, because he had the elongated skull.
Yes.
Yeah, the elongated skull was that. Yeah, he was extraterrestrial. Akhenaten in Egypt was an extraterrestrial. They're all from Mars. The Paracaucus down in South America, they're all from Mars. They're off-world. The Paracaucus in the Caucasus regions, where they kind of get their name. You know, it's just they're all from Mars because when they got here, they were dropped off, and they were just kind of mingled around the world. You know, and this is where we get this idea, which I brought up some time ago. They had elongated skulls, right? Well, when I was young, they called you a dunce, and they put a dunce cap on you. Okay, well, the dunce cap is a throwback to the elongated skulls, to where it's us, rounded skulls, telling the intelligent people, "Oh, you're just idiots," And also, the dunce cap comes from a religious ceremony of priests who were so intellectually smart that they sounded like idiots. Inventor of the Bitcoin. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah. Well, half the people that deal with the Bitcoin have committed suicide. I've got a long list of bankers and Bitcoin owners, or Bitcoin dealers that committed suicide. So
back in the early 2000s, I almost bought Bitcoin. I went as far as to make a digital wallet. And then for whatever reason, I was just going to buy like $20 in Bitcoin, which was fractions of a cent then. I wish I did.
No, I don't. No.
Of course, I had to complete
it.
That.
It was never regulated or sanctioned by any government, even though that's what it's designed. Talk about hippies. That's what it was designed to do. But on the other side of the coin, it was not supported by anything. And the deal was, it was fine because they had set it up kind of like Social Security. Reginald Randall's an alien.
Says Reginald Randall.
Oh, yeah, says Reginald Randall. I mean, guess he might know.
But
the original idea of Bitcoin was it was a savings account that you put your money into and could transfer it around the world. Well, They took that idea and took it to Wall Street, and then they started rolling in stock. And then the day that stock collapsed, it should have been over. But no, they started up another division and another division, another division. It's like the metaverse. People are paying real money for men are from Mars. That's what they say. That's what they say.
China.
Give them a lump of coal.
Oh, thank you.
The Pope hat. No, the Pope hat's a fish. The Pope hat is a fish. It is a fish. It comes from ancient Babylon. Now, Dr. Evil there is stroking his cat. The Pope hat is a fish, and it comes from the Babylon god Ea, E-A, Ea. And that is the representation to the Anunnaki that we still worship the gods, and the god of water, who is half man, half fish, had a hat. Thank God you didn't, because look what's happening. Thank God you didn't, because okay, I don't understand that.
Robert says greetings, Robert Honings.
Oh yeah, hey Robert. I've seen his stuff on my website quite a bit.
Please tell Bridget we said
Excellent,
hello.
Facebook page out there.
Yeah, happy holidays. Yeah, again, yeah, a lot of this. Okay, the Catholic Church changed Christmas to be the shortest day of the year. Why is it the shortest day of the year? Winter solstice. Where do they get that? They got it from the pagans. Where did the pagans get it? From the Druids. The Druids, and where do they get that from? Ancient Egypt, ancient Nineveh. It's the calendar. It's a zodiac.
That spans lots of cultures too. That's another one of those things.
There's 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 apostles. There's 12 months in the year. There's 12 hours, 12 hours in the day. We call it 24. Okay, so everything is around 12. Just think of it, around 12. And then it comes back up in the Bible all the time. Astronomical events, Jesus' birth, and all this other stuff. I'm never going to look at the Pope.
I think winter brought a lot of
fish hat. Never looked at the Pope. You can go to, I think it's Pinterest or something like that. I looked it up in.
I love that. I love Pinterest.
Okay, yeah, okay. There's a book. I forgot the title. I'm sorry, but it's called Louis Spence. Louis Spence, and it was published in 1929. And he has a photograph or etching of Ea, who saved Noah. Ea saved Noah, and because he told Noah to build a ship, but it's not Noah. It's some Russian name I can never pronounce. But anyway, Akapentunu or something like that. Anyway, Ea is the half man, half fish god, and there's a tribe in Africa that these dolphin type people came down and told them to move 300 miles to a river. And they did. They picked up stakes and moved 300 miles, walked across Africa to this river. And then after that, this whole flood came in and destroyed that coast of Africa. And this tribe was advanced one. They had not left that location that they were told to go to. And this was a dolphin type, half man, half fish dolphin idea. Now they still are on the planet somewhere, but they don't breathe air. They breathe water.
Jeannie says, I never asked this, but do you have any books, materials, etc., out for public viewing
purchase? No, I don't sell anything. This is all this freebie information. You go to my YouTube site. It talks a lot about what I'm doing. I'm trying to make another video here pretty soon. But it talks about a lot of my research. I just give it away for free because I found out in the very beginning, you can't profit from exploitating the paranormal. It's just karma's a bitch, Karma comes back and just doesn't work very well. But hey, Zach and Jason Grant, hey, they got $1 million in the bank account plus if it wasn't for the lawsuits. And Zach had $35,000 in cash one day, bought a haunted house. He wasted his money. That was up in Illinois. Fantastic soul. 3 times. I'm not bigger than 3. But anyway, so the whole idea is, what am I trying to get to? The whole idea is that on the back of I said this before, on the dollar is a pyramid that communicates with extraterrestrials. If you take the signal of the sign of the eagle and you just change the contrast on it, it turns into a little gray alien. So when your government, which is the last Roman government on the planet, curses the money that we use, and the Pope is wearing a Babylonian god's hat, you got to think to yourself, you got to quit worshiping space aliens.
I folded a dollar once and I could see like a picture of Stormy Daniels.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's not a space alien. She's not a Pleiadian, but.
How do you know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But what? I forget. Eric Trump's wife is a reptilian hybrid. Period. That's why she doesn't gain any weight. She's just really ultra thin. She must
Yeah,
eat. She must like eat water and oxygen or something. She's got a lot of reptilian DNA in her. I can tell you that fact. That's a fact.
You're gonna have
So
some
anyway,
I'm gay, all right.
what? What now? What?
Nothing. We won't be able to go on POC if we just say this.
Okay. So anyway, I'm threatening to do my own show, like 15-minute segments called Dr. Lynch Uncuffed. Where I roll up my sleeves and we start getting down to making fun of all this
Oh,
stuff.
that would be cool.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Let's do this.
If you'd like a
I
little help with that, let us know.
Yeah, and I'm like doing my own commercials, and I did a few old commercials, just for fun, and I got a new one, but with Pepto-Bismol. I'm threatening to do this as one of my first non-sponsored sponsored
I was
advertisements.
just going to ask you that. Why are you doing that if they're not going to sponsor you?
Because I hear these stupid commercials on the radio, and I go, man, I could make that really funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see them on TV, and it is kind of funny.
Yeah,
so.
it's really sad, And so one time I was watching Survivor Man, Les Stroud, Survivor Man. Okay, everybody knows he goes out and looks for Bigfoot and all this other stuff and talks about all his experiences. And then I said, okay, Les, you go over to East St. Louis and you camp out for a night, and we'll see if you survive. I mean, anyone can go out in the woods and survive. I want you to go to East St. Louis. I want you to go to Detroit, Michigan. Set up a tent and see if you live there by the next day. I don't know your link. I don't know the link, Jeannie. It's just under Michael Lynch. Just type in Michael Lynch. And I got their logos on there. So just type in Bigfoot and the Bunny. Type in Bigfoot and the Bunny, and that logo will come up and it'll direct you to my site.
Thank you.
And I published, when I was younger, Akashic Records is also part of the Tachyon Field. Oh my God, it is the warehouse.
Yep.
It's the warehouse.
Yeah, reiterate what Echo Leaf said. Encore. Okay, here we go.
The Akashic Records is also part of the Tachyon Field. This is great because your memory is being pulled right out of your frontal lobes and goes right into the Akashic Records. And that is the warehouse of all of your lifetimes. It is the server center of everything that you could possibly live, think, drink, eat, die, start all over again.
It's a cloud. Ken Allen says, well, I don't gain weight either, so damn.
I know.
What?
You might be a reptilian, Ken Allen.
That could be. I mean, you don't know. You got to check your DNA. That 23andMe is a lie, man. I can tell you that much. But anyway,
why?
Because they don't look for reptilian DNA. They're looking for DNA from your mother.
Yeah, mitochondria.
Mitochondria DNA, or from your father. They're not looking at reptilian DNA. It's like taking an iguana and say, hey, check that DNA, see if there's any human in it.
Well, so here's a question for you. If you think that, how do you know our government, since now they have like everybody's DNA and
they do
government database, but they're not going to tell you, if you have reptilian, Pleiadian, whatever, Pleiadian
sister Kristen.
Oh my God, my
Sister
stepbrother used to sing that song to me like that.
Daniel. Sister Christian, let me just lay it out for you, man.
Kristen.
If you got the smallpox vaccine,
it
was on the X-Files, man.
It's on the X-Files.
Yeah. Okay. They've got your DNA. They just warehouse it somewhere.
Never had it.
There are warehouses in DC that are top secret, above everybody's grade. The NSA has got warehouses of every cell phone and video conversation ever created.
I believe that. Okay,
I was on Art Bell one time, long time ago, and Art Bell goes, they're recording this to the NSA, and I said, I don't care, Art. I really don't care. That's my tax dollars being spent for like something I don't even want to know. But they record every cell phone. Every cell phone. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Okay, this is my home phone. It's wireless. It's a cell phone, right?
Okay.
They're recording that shit. They're recording everybody who calls me, everybody I talk to.
Cordless phone, right? You have a landline? That's a landline?
No, it's cordless. I get it through my server, my G5 server, my cable, my internet, and my phone
Right. Okay.
are all monitored and
Of
by
course.
the NSA or the FCC, NSA, whatever you want to do it.
All of them.
Intel Quo Pro.
Yes.
Now you can look that up, and that's a Jewish telecommunications corporation installed in St. Louis that monitors almost every word. It's bigger than Echelon. Echelon is worldwide, global. Is global. So if there's a woman in Iran and she says the code word jihad.
Oh yes. Same thing with typing though, with texting. They do the same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's monitored. Okay. And then there's a guy in DC going, ooh, that's one of our words. That's one of our words.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to look this up.
Yeah. And so Vladimir Putin picks up the phone. He says something like nuclear weapons, nuclear weapons or whatever. and then everybody in DC just like runs around. Oh my God, ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding. He's going to launch nuclear weapons, man. Because we've got okay. In the
Everywhere.
Ukraine war right now, the Russian generals or commanders, colonels, commanders pulled out their cell phones and they called in to headquarters, HQ. What do we do now, sir? And then they go, well, just stand there a little bit because we're locking in on your signal and we're going to nuke you. So the Ukrainians used the cell phones to fight the Russians because they didn't have any other type of communication. Oh, we'll just walk in. There were cell phones. Now today, okay, we just find out the Russians have stolen $1 billion in grain right out of the granaries of the Ukraine.
Yes.
And they're going to sell it on the international market.
That's ridiculous because that's what's hurting our economy as well.
Right.
Part of it.
Okay. So we go into Afghanistan and Iraq, and we pull out all the oil that we can get our hands on through British Petroleum. And it's like we have a right to it because you guys now have lost your battle. So we own that oil. Like
Resources.
Resources. Man, we're fighting over bread and oil.
Yes.
God, it's so messed up.
It is messed up. It's stupid.
Jack says we're living in a Pavlovian dystopia inside an Orwellian subterfuge.
No,
oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why when people tell me, is this an illusion? This reality illusion? I said I hope it is because I can prove it either way. But gee whiz, it's a sad set of affairs. It's a sad illusion.
Reggie notes that's what I've caught in my recordings. I would ask about someone, and they would sometimes say, "I'll check the logbook, etc."
Yeah,
hacking on records.
Yeah,
Reginald says.
Yeah. Okay. We all know about HARP. No, I haven't forgotten about HARP.
HARP and DARPA. Ugh.
But okay,
so
no. Okay. Now I'm going to step you back to Montauk Island, New York.
Yeah.
Okay, the Montauk Project.
Good fishing.
That was nothing. That was nothing compared to the HARP.
Nope.
They can plug you into the HARP and you can read the world. Okay, Dr. Xavier, Dr. Xavier goes into this psychomantium
of the psychomantium. Now there's something.
Yeah,
we wanted to bring back the psychomantium.
Yes, we did.
And for those of us that don't know what a psychomantium is, it is a sort of little room you go into to more or less to talk to spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might have a mirror in there to scribe.
Raymond Moody built it, and he puts in this black mirror in a black room, and if you sit there long enough, you'll see your beloved spiritual entities come right up to that mirror as if it's a window to the other world. Now, a lot of people do it; they see stuff. Other people don't. But the psychomantium is Nostradamus used it. He had a black mirror, and he would look into the black mirror as if he was watching a TV because he could put himself in this self-hypnotic state and then go into that and see the future.
Yeah,
and
it's like a little room with the mirror. We like the idea. We actually wanted to kind of bring that to a Paracon, and then it didn't end up happening. But we were working on that. We may be doing that next year.
We're going to be creating a psychomantium.
Kind of a traveling psychomantium that people can, try to communicate with. their
Yeah.
loved ones, or otherwise, perhaps the spirit of the house that happens to be in.
And Raymond Moody said that it may take you a couple of times, may take you 3 times, and then you start to see this. And one woman went in there and scrying, that's the other word, but I scry when I shave in the mirror. Scrying can be a bunch of stuff. I'm talking about self-hypnosis. I don't go to self-hypnosis to shave. So what? I'm sorry, I missed that. John D in the mirror. Yeah, exactly. If you want to spy on somebody, you do it through your subconscious, through your hypnagogic state, through getting rid of all this. I use it all the time.
Sure. Yes, I use it all the time.
Oh, I've known psychics. They see the future. They see the past. They can, they're like, it's like a, like old Etch a Sketch machine. They can go any way they want to go. I'm saying, and I think all of this. And I said, like, if Raymond Moody thinks this has potential, like Rupert Sheldrake thinks that his science is potential, it's like, absolutely. Why aren't we investigating this? Why aren't a younger generation going around and doing this?
Yes.
And we're so caught up in blood, guts, and oil and bread, and we're back into Rome again. I mean,
it's always
I'm
been
just really
that.
sorry. Yeah,
it's just we convince ourselves that we're more civil and it's different now. We use different labels on it.
But yet we're so superior that we have to go around and take everybody's land.
We're still doing the same things we've always done.
Always.
So destroy
1%, too.
Yeah.
Destroy steal resources. Basically.
Hitler said we're going to have 1,000-year Reich. Hitler said we're going to have 1,000-year Reich, and that would be half of the Roman Empire. We haven't been around 260, 70 years, and we're already failing. The next country after us will live half its lifetime because it has a tenth of the resources that we had. You see, and you can't just run around and squander everything.
That's right. Right.
I'm really sorry, but our oceans are polluted with plastics. Our fish, we are polluted with plastics and Teflon.
Yes. 99% of us. Yeah. I mean, 99% of our bodies are.
The Chesapeake Bay is so polluted, they can't even dredge up the silt because it would release so many toxins into the environment. It will wipe out all the fish. So they have dead zones where there's no oxygen in the Chesapeake Bay. And that all comes from 1978 and 1972 when they actually created the EPA.
Right.
And they held Nixon hostage. If you don't stop this, EPA, or create an agency that's going to monitor this,
right?
They would burn down the Capitol. It was like, that's the hippies, man. That's the hippie movement right there. We got the EPA, we got Earth Day. Save the Whales was next on the list, but the hippies did a lot. The hippies did a lot. I mean,
she had Gail in this conversation.
That's right.
Yeah,
Gail's a hippie. My parents were hippies.
Yeah, so it's not bad. It's
not
just
means I'm a hippie by default.
Yeah,
I didn't go anti-hippie on them.
Let me just point out a couple of things here for our economics. Okay, in the 1940s and 1944, they grew hemp and harvested it for paper and clothing, and they processed it. Out here, Judge Daniel Boone, that we all read about in history, had the biggest flax farm, which was hemp for rope for the sailors in the sea. So he was dealing in flax, which is hemp. Okay. And then all of a sudden the war ends and then everybody's against it. Why? Because it was taking over the cotton and linen industries. Mm-hmm. They didn't want the competition. So then they outlawed it. So we couldn't make rope out of hemp anymore. We couldn't make clothing or paper. And we're cutting down thousands and thousands of trees, hundreds of thousands of trees for the New York Times. Yeah. And for all these magazines that you don't want, that you get.
That's us.
Yeah.
Jack Kilowatt says we're still in Plato's cave thinking the shadows are real. Very good.
That's right. That's right.
Observation there, Jack. And they also didn't want to leave the cave because they didn't believe the world existed outside, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Reality of being in that cave.
Yeah. How we look at the world is we take a glass of water. Take a regular glass of water. Make sure it's clear. Shine a light into it.
Yep.
The reflection of that light comes off the water and goes on the wall.
It refracts.
Okay. It refracts the light. And when you jiggle it, you see a wave pattern in that light on the wall. Okay, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing not the reflection. We're seeing the illusion that this is real. Okay, we're not seeing the glass because the glass is tachyons, and we don't see those. But everything else that it reflects from that tachyons is real, and we consider that real. Okay, yeah, and then that's the illusion. That's why we're in a simulated universe. Is because we know.
Jeannie says, my ancestors drew in a cave. There's two paths, one to success, one to destruction. We took a sharp curve on the road of destruction. Physically,
Yes, there's a Navajo or Hopi drawing on a stone, and one is if certain type of people get in charge, it'll go zigzag. If another type of people get in charge, it'll go straight line. And that was to show the consciousness and the economy. As wars were created, and then people died off, and then new wars were created, it will destroy everything. And it's a psychological problem, not an economic, because it's greed and pan-stupidism. Either we're all stupid or we're all intelligent. Pan-geniusism. You can't have one without the other.
psychism is an answer also for like the great philosophical discussion. We're all kind of made of the same stuff. Why are we here? We got to be more than just, combinations of cells and DNA, that reptilian DNA, and all of that, right? There's a consciousness. It almost just wants to say, all right, there's this separate thing called consciousness.
Right.
And it's a very fickle subject matter, but it takes 2,000 or 3,000 years to develop our consciousness. It took us a year to develop the atomic bomb.
Just a year,
more or less. Yeah, we had the theory. But we didn't really put it into practice, and then they actually did it, and that was like letting the genie out of the bottle. It's like, oh yeah, we can do this. Look how smart we are. Yeah.
Now you have to go back to the oceans.
That's
because
right.
They're constantly doing nuclear testing in
underground or in the oceans. Yeah, and then where do you think we get Godzilla? I mean, where do you think Godzilla came from?
Sure. I agree.
I think was it Nazareth or Black Sabbath that wrote that song?
Electric Funeral?
No, it was Godzilla. It was
that's Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster Cult. That's it. Blue Oyster Cult.
Godzilla.
Yeah, and it's like again and again, nature points out the folly of man.
That's right.
And it's like, yes, they got it. Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah, that's it. And Don't Fear the Reaper. That's the other good one.
Yeah, burning for you.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm burning for you. Yeah, that's cool. But anyway, I'm just saying. Nature will always tell us that we're doing the wrong thing. It'll always tell us we're doing the wrong thing. And because the nature wants to survive. Plants want to live, ducks want to live, fish want to live. They all want to live. And the more they die and wash up on the shores and clog up the rivers, you're sitting there going, well, gee whiz, we could be doing something wrong, don't you think? We're supposed to be the most intelligent people the most intelligent species on the planet. Well, I've got octopi that have more DNA and probably more intelligence than I do.
Filled with fish, and the fishing industry was huge in our coastal waters up here in New England.
Yes.
The colonists, were greeted with a lot of dead people because smallpox had already invaded.
Yes,
sure.
The native indigenous races here, but they we're greeted with a lot of fish. Now, striped bass, a thing that sport fish out here. You can really try to get one. The bays were just full of them. They were huge.
Yeah.
Stories are notorious in the fishing world.
Look at Boston. Boston was notoriously known for its lobster. Notorious. Nantucket lobster was all the rage as far back as I can remember. We used to fly it in to St. Louis on a daily flight just to have fresh lobster. Okay, now there are lobster gardens where they have these tanks They're growing
Farms.
lobster. Yeah, lobster farms
Same
because
thing with scallops.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
scallop farms.
Shrimp.
They're not as
Yeah.
good.
shrimp.
No.
Yes,
Not as good.
and
I
they
am
are growing them
connoisseur.
now.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I thought, no, we'll never have that. There's no need for that. We have the entire oceans. Well, when New York was dumping all of its trash out into the ocean and hospital needles were washing up on the shores,
Ugh.
I don't think those lobsters had very much longer time. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Salt water does decontaminate, but gee whiz.
Yeah, with the global warming thing, right? So you've got triggerfish now up here in New England,
That's right.
which is a tropical fish. Comes up the Gulf Stream from like Florida. This kind of fish you can get for saltwater aquariums, not supposed to be in our waters. And
That's right.
its primary diet is scallops.
Yes.
Put a crunch on the scallop industry here.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
are growing oysters in oyster farms.
Yes.
They're growing lobsters. They're growing. There's a certain type of fish that makes caviar in Russia, and they're growing those fish just for the caviar.
Don't they do beluga?
Beluga. Yeah,
yeah.
that's like a beluga whale, which is now on the endangered
Do we eat
species
them?
list. But there is another fish.
Really?
Yes.
Jesus. I didn't
What
know.
now?
I guess we eat them.
What,
The
whales?
beluga whales?
No, we don't.
No, not the whales.
Oh, I
just
thought you said.
I'm
Yes.
so sorry. I'm going through comments.
Just the
eat
caviar. Just the caviar.
The caviar, which
Yeah.
sucks because they do kill the whales. They get
Yeah, to get
Don't
the
eat-
caviar. Yeah,
started.
and then we can get caviar from the other species, but it's just not as good. Okay, there's in Casablanca what?
Echo says agriculture was the downfall of man.
No, the
No.
other one better is
No, Monsanto was the downfall of man.
It's that fish with PTSD, a triggerfish.
A trigger
Yeah,
fish.
that's
Very
right.
triggered.
That's true.
Very
That's
triggered.
true. It doesn't take much for me to get triggered anymore, but anyway. Banks are not even taking care of
Properly, those tanks, the tanks, where
Tanks.
they grow the
Yeah,
scallops.
where
they
they
grow-
grow,
yeah.
like oyster
They grow the
scallops,
scallops.
lobsters.
We,
Because-
so we grow scallops. We grow organs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We grow them in pigs.
yes.
What kind of pigs were they, Mike?
They were white Chesterfields, big fat white Chesterfields.
Chesterfield pigs, but you called them
Pigs.
something else a little earlier.
Oh, xenomorphic. They were
Yeah.
xenomorphic.
They have
Xenomorphic
I'm sorry.
pigs.
Yeah, pigs.
That was good.
And you might be able to find them on that. Now that was a few years ago, but now with new cloning techniques, and printing techniques, they can virtually take, your DNA right out of your heart and start cloning it in a vat. So they may not need the pigs as much but it was done. And Nostradamus talked about the pig people. It was the
predict
pig.
pig people.
Yeah, and so he was talking about that way back in the day. So
That was way back. in the
those
day.
fisheries and tanks, they're really bad because we can't. Carol, we can't duplicate the ocean. So we just, Finding Nemo. Okay, in the show, Finding Nemo, their tank would always get polluted.
Yes.
And the shrimp would have to get there and eat it all up. And they go, stop that. We're trying to get out of here.
His name is Jacques.
Jacques, the
Yes,
French. Oh, I missed that last IQ thing. But
Sorry.
Reggie said
Anyway.
you tell people their IQ was 1 point higher, they would be a rock. Now I'm finding tons of rocks that are much smarter than that.
Reggie.
that's what Rupert Sheldrake says, that their rocks are intelligent. It was like, yeah, probably so.
Takes on a wing.
Yeah,
Classic Pink Floyd right there.
yeah. Buffalo wings. Where do they come from? They're from a hybrid. No, I'm just kidding.
And it's a cryptid. A cryptid wing.
They have wings on the buffalo now. God, it gets crazy. It's Monsanto that destroyed everything else. The artist Bosch
Paints pig people.
paints pig people.
Paints
Okay.
pig people.
Well,
Pig people.
That's cool.
The last great hope for mankind may be hybriding us with chimpanzees or something. I have no idea. But for
Really
being so theoretically being as intelligent as we are, let me just say this: we'll never have a blue sky again. We'll never have a sea that has lots of fish in it or the size. Chimpanzees will never be over 5 feet tall. We have destroyed the DNA. Bring back the pet rock. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I had
If I could have a pet rock that I could like pet, like Dr. Evil. And they would say, "What are you petting?" "My rock. I am petting my rock."
Need to put some fur on
I
that.
could tell The Rock liked it too when you
Yeah.
do that.
Tiny
So
cryptid buffalo wings. That's right. I think that's what they are.
I think that's where Domino's
Yeah.
gets.
I think it's
They're really small.
I think it's iguana. I think, Linda, that is iguana wings. We're taking iguana meat that tastes like chicken, but actually
Iguana.
All I know
iguana-
is I think Domino's over here in New England is like they have pigeons.
They are really small,
Pigeon
but they're pretty good.
yeah.
Not gonna knock them too bad because we ordered them.
I like
But
the Parmesan ones.
I've never seen
would-
these chickens. Must be like so tiny.
Oh, I watched that, Carol.
I was down in Chichen Itza. I was down in off of Cancun,
chicken
down in Chichen Itza. I can say that actually.
He wants to go so bad.
It's great. Okay, but anyway, you get down there and you get into the park. It's like a state park or national park there, and you're walking around Chichen Itza, and you go, "Oh wow, that's so cool! Oh wow, look at that pyramid! Oh wow, look at that altar!" And it's like, "Oh, look at the the game court!" And then all of a sudden you look down and you go, "Oh shit, there's an iguana down there 4 feet long." It's like, "Oh, there's another one over there, man." It's like they don't, it's like I was a tourist, so I wasn't like looking for iguana, but man, there was orange and black ones. There were black and orange ones. It was
They're
like,
nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, it was like,
Light.
yeah.
They're all over, right?
Crystal skulls. Okay, well,
What's your take
yes.
on crystal
there's
skull?
there's a lot of debate
Encore,
on this, huh?
Encore. We had-
Encore.
Yeah, because Echo Leaf, we were getting ready to wrap up, but Echo Leaf was like encore.
And then we
And then we
okay.
just kept
picked
going.
around a few more subjects.
So like, hey,
Okay.
let's
Crystal
do this.
skulls. Okay, the Mitch Hedges skull. Mitchell
I think
Hedges
it's
skull.
pigeons.
The
Those
Mitchell
pigeons?
Hedges skull is fake. It is fake. It was made by a artist in England, and he bought it and took it to South America, where whatever that
Peru.
village was,
Peru,
and buried
yeah.
it. And then he told his daughter to reach down there and grab it. He buried it the night before, and so she got it, and she lies about everything, but she wasn't even really there. She came in later on, and so he had been there for almost a month, doctoring the site, as we would say. What's that? Oh, it's not doctoring the site. It's gold miners would salt the mine. Okay, salt the mine. That's it. Okay, and so Mitchell was there salting that area, and then his daughter came out, like vacation or whatever, and so she was kind of there. And then in one story, she wasn't there at all. He just pulled it up, showed it to the natives. They all bowed down, and that's that. Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay, so the Mitchell Hedges skull is fake. But what Mitchell Hedges found was not faked. And that is beads, glass crystal beads, so small with a hole through them that was so small you couldn't put a modern day fishing line into it.
Oh wow.
Now
Right.
that is from a movie, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but Sterling from the Night Gallery. Rod Sterling, right?
I
Narrated.
love the gallery. Yes.
Yes, narrated that movie, and I cannot think it was Ancient Astronauts or it was something, but it was anyway. So the Mitchell Hedges skull was faked, but what he found were these beads, and either they were glass or crystal, and they had a hole in them so small you couldn't barely put a human hair through it. And so they said, if that crystal was manufactured, which they did find it was manufactured, who manufactured the beads? Okay, nobody. At that time period, they were working with obsidian glass, and they were chipping away at the obsidian glass and selling it as knives, as tomahawks, as whatever. You just cut through everything. Okay, they didn't have the technology to drill. There was no drilling done.
Mhm.
So how do these beads even exist? And that's the question. That is the question. Yes.
Now over there,
What
they had a
would they-
lot of green obsidian. That's the only place in the
Right.
world that it comes from.
That's right.
So,
And it comes from that city outside of modern Mexico City, and it was
No.
built to line up with all the planets, and it was a solar calendar.
Not Teotihuacan.
Is it?
Teotihuacan?
No, not Teotihuacan.
No,
But
I'm trying to think as well. Yeah.
no, Tijuana. Oh, it's Teotihuacan. Yeah, it is. It is because Tiwanaku is up in the Peruvian mountains,
Right.
and this was Teotihuacan. Yeah,
Right.
and that's true. And
Yeah.
so there was no technology to drill anything. Now that setup was kind of designed. If you want to talk to Van Doniken, was set up and designed to make one thing, and that was mercury.
Yes.
And mercury is found underground at that site. But what is mercury designed for?
Right.
Space travel. It is for geoscopic space travel.
And what was weird was they found little tiny balls with it
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
Balls and beads. My
Balls
mind.
and beads. But the balls were in there and they couldn't figure out why they had these like perfectly symmetrical, round balls with
Because
a flow of sea of mercury. And that's not the only
right. Oh,
thing that I've heard I've heard that from. I've also heard it from I think it was China. There's also a sea of mercury. They say sea of mercury. It's like a little pond of mercury as well. And it was in the same time period, which was really weird.
Right. So this mercury that was made outside of Mexico in Teotihuacan was shipped to China to become a mercury river or lake where the original emperor is buried under a pyramid with his soldiers standing outside.
Which is it the Terracotta Army?
Yeah, the Terracotta Army. Yeah, is outside that pyramid, standing guard. Okay, so for that to have happened, there would have to be a global shipping organization to take it from Mexico City, let's say, all the way to China to that pyramid where those terracotta soldiers are standing guard. And there's supposed to be a mercury river. And they've also found other mummies in China drenched, soaked in mercury. And the body has absorbed it, and they're totally lethal. But at the same time, they're a great anatomical exhibit. So
what's your take on red mercury?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just, let's just open up that old grab bag of Cold War shit because, down deep in that grab bag, red mercury was real, developed by the Russians. And what they had done was they took red mercury, and they infused it with plutonium. Okay. And then they could put it into a design, a container, and it would not give off the signal of radioactivity. So it somehow the fluid of the mercury kind of shifted the plutonium signature. So they were looking for uranium 238, 239. This was a plutonium infused, or a red mercury infused with plutonium. So the signature was slightly different. And if you can put it in the right container, you would never be discovered. Now, there is a black and white grainy photo of a Russian vat, and in Russian on it and above it, it said red mercury. Now, how that was smuggled out and given to the CIA through East Germany, West Germany, whatever you want to do, the deal is that the Russians had built it. And in that movie, Red, Red 2, was it Red 2 or Red? I forgot. Anyway, they meet the inventor of the guy who developed the bomb for red mercury, right?
Well, I like it. It's funny.
Yeah, everyone said it was theoretical or it wouldn't work, but actually he had created it under a Cold War project under a different name and set it up. And that is almost exactly what happened in Russia, and Russia developed it first. Yeah.
And Jack says residues of mercury are also found inside the Egyptian pyramids.
Oh, yeah, sure. Also a JFK skull. Shit.
What?
Yeah. What? JFK was shot with a red mercury bullet, a mercury-based bullet.
Gotta love our show. With
And
conspiracy.
the bullet entered from the back and then blew his skull right off.
Yeah.
If Lee Harvey Oswald had that bullet, he would have to have like $100,000 per shell, because they were only made for one reason, and that was to kill JFK. It was a mercury-based bullet. In the movie Day of the Jackal, he gets some mercury-based bullets to go kill the French president, and he takes him out with a melon. He gets this melon, and he shoots it, and the melon just goes boom, blows up. Day of the Jackal, rent that movie here if you can find it. And that is exactly what happened to Kennedy's skull. And they found red mercury in the back seat on Jackie and on her dress. And it is in the Smithsonian Institution, and it's covered in blood, Jack's blood. And it had mercury all over it. It's amazing that Jackie even lived as long as she did. She was poisoned, mercury poisoning.
Yes.
Yeah,
if I had a tube, if I had an old tube that fit in your old radiola radio that had mercury in it, that one tube, I mean, I'm not talking like weapons of mass destruction. I'm talking that one tube of mercury, if it cracked, would kill all of southern Florida.
Come on.
Yeah. Mercury is given as a preservative, and then why do kids have autism? Thimerosal was put in flu vaccines, and you wonder why people are autistic. I'm just going to get on a branch. When my son was born, they gave him shots.
Yes.
And I said, what in the hell? What in the F are you doing to my son?
Oh.
He's 2 days old. Well, the state requires it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. If I don't sign off on it, it doesn't go into his body. Period.
Right.
Okay.
They do it instantly now.
Yep.
And then, they do it instantly. So then, guess what? The next new drug is Ritalin. Well, what the hell? What do you have Ritalin? What do you have Prozac? What do you have lithium? What do you have all this stuff? Well, it's because I gave you your son an injection when he was born. Well, shit, stop doing that.
Now they're finding stuff.
Things are dropping. You know,
right? Now they're finding stuff in baby food from like 30 years ago.
Oh God. Yeah.
So they have this whole big process with lawyers and things, and it keeps coming on TV, like the Camp Lejeune one. Now, if your kids were born with ADHD or autism, please call this, lawyer, and it's so messed up.
Echo says, what do you know about humus, edible monatomic gold? They say the Egyptians used to eat. Some call it the menstrual blood of the gods.
Okay, let me just tell you this.
Interesting.
Okay, everyone go on to Disney Plus and watch the movie or get your hands on it of Love and Thunder, and also get the movie The Gods of Egypt.
I love that movie.
And when they bled gold. Mm-hmm. It ran through their veins. Okay, we're just talking about the Anunnaki. It's just this,
right.
More. Okay, so to get edible monochromic gold, what you're talking about, you have to take a bar of gold. Okay, a little, about 3 or 4 inches. You have to hook it up to a generator. And then you have to put electricity through that gold to where for as long as it takes, and it becomes a white powder. And then that white powder you eat. And some people put it in cakes and other things, and they would eat it. Okay, and that was for a life longevity. Okay, why would they do that? It's because, one, their bodies required it. It's like taking magnesium or potassium in large multi-mineral amounts, okay, which the human body cannot withstand. And so they're taking gold and ingesting it. Now, the metaphor was their blood must be gold, okay? But where did they get the electricity? Not through a Baghdad battery to generate enough electricity to make that a white powder. But that's what they were doing.
It reminds me a little of Goldschlager.
so these Anunnaki were taking minerals
Oil.
and they were ionizing them or electrocuting them to where they would break down and then they could ingest it. Now, back in the old days, when I was young, they took an old iron nail and put it into a glass of water and then you drank it. That's how
For
they got
iron content.
Yeah, that's how they got iron back into their body. Or they would cook on iron skillets.
Yes.
And that's how they got iron back into their bodies.
You have enough iron in your body to make a nail.
Well, no. The nail will decompose and then you just drink it because we are ferritic. We are
But
ferritic.
you drank that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saucer's cagliostro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there going, why did the Anunnaki or these Egyptians from Mars or whatever require so much minerals? And why were they atomizing our gold through these generators that we cannot find or did not have? And they were doing it and they were putting it in their food and they were eating it. So they required some type of super duper mineral. And gold and lead on the periodic table are so close together. You know what I'm saying? We can't have lead. That's toxic to us, but we can have iron. You know, gold does not decompose in water, so you have to ionize it. You know, there's been gold ships off the coast of Virginia and Carolinas, and that gold is not even rusted or aged or anything. You know, they just pick it up from the bottom of the ocean. It's ready to go back into circulation. It's crazy. Silver will, because it oxidizes. Gold does not oxidize. Gold is not electromagnetic. So there's a lot of weird stuff, man. There's a lot of weird stuff about that. But
Gold
why did
bullet
they need?
Don't take out a werewolf.
Yeah, no, silver bullet. Silver bullet gets a werewolf.
Maybe
Now,
it's the
Anubis. Now, the question I have for the listening audience, if you're still out there, not gone to bed yet, is Anubis called a jackal, or is he a werewolf?
Ooh, I like
And
it.
that's the question. Is
it's a
Anubis a werewolf?
Hmm.
Or is Anubis just the jackal? Okay, with gold tongues, well, that's where you come up with the idea that if you have a gold tongue, you can speak in the afterlife. And we still say that today. He has a gold tongue, meaning he can convince anybody of anything. He's a perfect salesman. A salesman has a gold tongue. And then that's the whole idea. What are you going to do? Turn me off. Oh, there you go. That's a dog. That's not Anubis. That's a dog.
The Doberman. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
it's a
jackal.
it's like a jackal greyhound, and they were hairless. They had no hair. They were like the hairless cats we have
They were
today.
cats. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's cool. I got a couple of sphinxes. Well, I got a couple. I got two.
Oh, don't even get me started with the Sphinx.
But anyway, yeah. Okay. Here's the other thing too. The Egyptians, gold tongue is because they could talk in the afterlife, and gold was to perpetuate their communication in the afterlife.
Jackass
More
Doc, which
magica than-
alchemy is more magica
Yeah.
than physic magic.
But
I wanted to ask that earlier.
it was because of that alchemy that we have tarot today, and we have chemistry, and we have metallurgy is from alchemy. But even Sir Isaac Newton was trying to make it into a magic, the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone had to go through 4 different processes. And you got down to the base process, it either turned to gold or the wisdom of doing these processes would make it. Alchemists, because they didn't want to get arrested by the church, wrote all their stuff down on cards. We call them recipe cards today, but what they're called is tarot cards. On every tarot card was a prediction, but if you knew what the symbols meant, that was the recipe. And then you could cook with that. You were cooking metal, different properties. Okay, other than what
I'm Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Now I forgot the guy, but the name was in the Harry Potter. Famil. Anyway, he was the only one that was able to create the Philosopher's Stone, and he lived to be a very old age. Well, what they're talking about is that he created the Philosopher's Stone, crushed it, part of it, and ate it, and that's how he lived to be so long. That's how he lived to be so long.
And your opinion, what is the Philosopher's Stone? Was it something to turn lead into gold or something else? Meaning of life, an embodiment of
It's a psychological trip that marijuana and LSD just can't provide. It's just a random. It's just a search for knowledge. It's a quest for knowledge, and that back in the day, thanks to Archimedes, but back in the day, they would take lead and dip it into gold. And so when you paid your taxes to the king, you had these beautiful gold bars, and you would lay them down and go, "Here, king, I've just paid my taxes." And it was lead inside of gold. Well, if you didn't melt it down, you'd never know. So Archimedes, the king goes, "Archimedes, how can you determine the difference between gold and lead?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know." So Archimedes goes and takes a bath. And when he gets into the bath, the water comes up. And he goes, "Huh." The water table comes up. And he goes, "Huh." So he stands up, and then the water goes down. And he goes, and then he sits back down, and the water comes back up. And he goes, "Eureka, I found it," and ran through Syracuse totally naked. But he solved the problem of the king. It was that lead and gold have different weights and displacements. And that's how he solved that. Is LSD the Philosopher's Stone? I tell you, man, it's very close, because there's on Netflix a whole documentary on can psychedelics cure ADHD, depression, all these mental dysfunctions, all these mental problems. And I don't know if they can cure it, but I tell you what, it does correct a lot of things biochemically in the brain.
Can be a tool.
Now, here's the other thing. Here's two. Okay, I want to bring this up. The CIA spent tons of money to find LSD, and they were the first ones to manufacture it. And they used it in interrogations. They found that magic mushroom. Nicholas Flamel, created the Philosopher's Stone in Harry Potter. That's it. And that guy's real. That is a real guy. Thank you, Carol. And so they're sitting there saying, well, mushrooms. Okay, so the human body needs 2 or 3 things. It needs lithium, and we get no lithium in our diet today, none at all. And that's what causes neuroses. Okay, is the lack of lithium. 2, not the type you take because you're depressed. No, you want the natural lithium that can keep you focused and get off that HDAD medicine. Okay, right. Get off the lithium. And the other one is we don't get any cannabis, and our bodies require cannabis for inflammation, pain control, and anxiety. And if you go a little bit further, cancer prevention and heart disease and kidneys and blood problems, cannabis will serve a lot of that. CBD and the Delta form can do that, can help with all of that. And it's temporary high if you get high at all, or you can take it before you go to sleep. You wake up next morning, you feel like you're 20 years old, 30 years old, ready to hit the day, because your body needs it. It requires it, just like it requires iron and zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D and vitamin E and omega-3s. And I can run on the list of what your body really needs. Are you getting that in your food? No, you're not. And you can cheat once in a while and think you're getting away with it, but no, you're not. Rampant obesity in America is caused by the lack of nutrition, not overeating.
Yeah, things like refined pasta.
Sugar.
The sugar industry.
Don't even get us started on that.
Corn sugar, man. Corn syrup, corn sugar is in everything. Everything. Evil. 100%. Totally. Yep. It's manufactured. It's not natural, no matter what anyone says. It's manufactured just like you're manufacturing moonshine.
Right.
Whoever says that sugar, corn syrup or corn-based sugar is natural is the same guy who says moonshine is 100% natural and organic.
Maybe we'll wrap up with this question.
Yes.
Would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf?
Oh, shoot. I like that movie so much. Van Helsing had to turn into a werewolf in order to kill Dracula.
Van Helsing.
I don't know.
Underworld was really good, but I am goofing when I ask this question.
Yeah, Underworld was awesome.
I'm leaning toward vampire.
Vampire.
It's a little bit more messier,
But
but
werewolves can kill a vampire.
yeah, I know, but they only see werewolf changes only once a month. A vampire has to, he's just that way all the time. And in most lycanthropy scenarios that people have reported that they're lycanthropy, is that they have blackouts. Stop that. We have blackouts. They have blackouts and they don't remember what they've done. It's kind of like zombieism. They take some smelling salts or they take some bath salts, and next thing you know, they don't even know what's going on. They're just like a zombie running around attacking stuff. Well, I don't like that. I like to be in kind of control. It's kind of like the Hulk,
Yes.
but brought up with but hey, we all love a little bit of fantasy. I'm just trying to deal with what I got right here, getting out of bed in the morning and drinking my coffee and watching the world just fall off the edge, fall
Yeah,
into
we
the abyss.
understand that so much.
So, hey, thank you very much.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
you.
And it's like,
We
I don't sell it.
appreciate you. This has been great.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has.
yeah.
As usual, yes.
And
Always.
get that network started, man. I'll be sitting here
Yeah.
with pom-poms rooting for you. And, I may join in. So never know. Never
Excellent.
know, man.
Excellent. Yeah, we can talk about the 15-minute things. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Just a little, little
Little tidbit
paranormal-
here and
paranormal thing of the day, is like paranormal zen of the day or something like that,
there. Love that. Oh, I like
But,
that. That's a good title.
but we've got to change our minds, and we've got to change the way we look at it, approach at it. And that is the key. The key is changing our minds and then focusing on that. And that's the key to the whole thing. And we'll get into the afterlife later on, but thank you very much. And check out Mana Nui and Tata Duende just for fun. And like I said, I'm excited about the paranormal. I think everybody should be. And I think we're wasting a lot of our time pandering to these super scientists out there and not giving the credit's due. These guys have not solved anything in freaking 80 years. And no one will solve it because they're on their phones all the time watching TikTok, so that's it. Thank you very much, Chris and Kristen.
Thank
Very
you.
welcome. It was wonderful.
Live
Thank you.
from your grave.
Thank you for being
Little
on.
altered beast, and thank you so much for being on. And I'll close out in case people missed the front of the show. Was an introduction that you created for us, and we do appreciate it.
Yes,
and
thank
it's funny as hell. We love it.
There's a legend in these parts about Bigfoot. As he was wandering through the forest, he thought about having a podcast. And he walked and thought and walked and thought. Then he came across a little bunny and he pondered, I wonder if that bunny would be my co-host. And the rest, it was history.